Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Super Old Game Saturday, the retro gaming show I put on every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for classic gaming goodness, although it is worth pointing one thing. We're actually having our final Saturday program of 2022 tonight. But we're going to have shows in the next 2 weeks on the Fridays. That's going to be December 23rd and December 30th for the purpose of holidays. But tonight, for our last Saturday show, I got something viewers wanted to see, and something I said, I know we can fit this in based on how this game is operating. I was kind of getting a sense over about a month or so. I guess it's what should we play for this weekend? It seemed like it was open. But fitting, we'd had Capcom last week with Mega Man X4, so we're going to go back to Capcom tonight with Final Fight 3 for the Super Nintendo, which came out in 1995, at the end of 1995 in Japan. In the US, it was on January 3rd of 1996 this came out. It was only on the Super Nintendo, just like Final Fight 2, which we played earlier this year. It was a sequel to the arcade beat-em-up of Final Fight Original from 1989. We only got the sequels as far as Super Nintendo games. We're going to run that tonight, but before we do that, I'm going to say hi to ElecVerse in the chat. Hey gang, so good to see you, ElecVerse, tonight for Final Fight 3 for the Super Nintendo. I know you said you wanted to see all the Final Fight games as far as it on the back of our play of Final Fight 1. Yeah, we did 2 back in January. I cannot believe it's been that long. And now we're getting to 3 after we did Streets of Rage 2 last month. So good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Feel free to let the memories flow on this if you have any. This is a game that actually is pretty expensive to come across. And I'm on Wii U for this one, for Virtual Console, because for the next 3 months, this and the new 3DS's Virtual Console are the cheapest ways to get this. This has only been re-released 3 times, and one of them is gone. That's the Wii U, or the Wii Virtual Console version. On March 29th, this one's going to be gone, and so is 3DS. So, as a little bit of a prelude to us getting to Final Fight 3, we're going to take a look at everything else I have on the Wii U War Chest. I have no recollection of playing this one. I didn't either, ElecVerse, until you asked for all of these, and I'm glad you did ask for all of these. This was actually before they announced the shop closure was going to happen. But I said, okay, request for game, I told you to take that seriously, so we're going to be running through the entire franchise as it is. And I like the fact that we were able to do that. It broadened my horizons, because then when we played Final Fight 2 beginning of the year, I hadn't played that one much, and same with Final Fight 3, and I think I'm realizing a little bit why that is. It was a late one for Super Nintendo. It came out in 1986 for the US. It was right before Mega Man X3 came out, which was a little later that month, and some other things, but also it was on in Japan the year before. But still, it seems like this doesn't get to be talked too much, to the point where I couldn't find any credits for this, but I'll go on that as I go. Maybe I played it during my old emulator days. Maybe, and I mean, there's something to be said about that, because, as I said, before we start Final Fight 3, we're going to take a look at everything I have on what I call the Wii U War Chest. Everything I downloaded for the purpose of this, before the shop closure stuff I've had for this. So it means it puts stuff in play, and fitting, because actually, there are games in here, not that one, we played this before, we'll go on that in a little bit, just to go over a little brief overview for it. Feel free to give any memories or interest on anything you're seeing here, anything like, ooh, I want to see this that we didn't already say, oh, we're going to do. Now, even though it's a Super Nintendo, we're going to look at everything else, because I do have nice folders outside for the purpose of showing that. But I kind of did that too for stuff that was expensive, like Mega Man X3, which came out around the same time. And it was one of those that, hey, that jumped in price. This did too. This is about a $200, $250 game now if you're going on Super Nintendo. It's $8 on this and on new 3DS. So if you do have one of those units and you do have your Nintendo Network ID from Wii U or 3DS linked to your Switch account, you can take funds out of your Switch pockets or your Switch wallet and put them here. I think that's the only way you can do that now. And actually, I did all my buying for this stuff way before that happened. So it was like, first they took away credit card adding for funds, then they had the point cards away, and then this is the only other option. Everything turns off on March 29th. With a couple exceptions, but I don't think anything in Wii U that's going to be into that. But yeah, we're going to play Final Fight, but as a little bit of a bonus, and also since this is going to be our last Friday show of the year, but as I said, we're having shows next week. Friday for the 23rd and Friday for the 30th as well. We will have shows. 2 more shows of the year. We are going to end 2022 with a bang, and it has been a great year. I'm going to say that for sure. Hello from 2 guests with me. It's Dolly Finn. Good to see you. We have Montag UK and, new face. Inhuret Nacht. Is that right? Feel free, Dolly Finn, to correct me if that's wrong, but so good to see all of you. I guess you're having a nice party as far as it, and thinking this show is worth jumping into. I appreciate that. Okay, I mean, we'll figure that, I guess, as we go along. So good to see you tonight. As I was mentioning to ElecVerse for this one, who is very happy to see you, as am I, and I think we all are very happy to see each other for this. As I said, this has been a great year we've had for the show, for everything we've done, all the weird stuff we've gotten into with games, all the unique things we've had to say, and all the unique camaraderie we've had. We're finishing off with 3 more shows. Tonight is the last Saturday one, so the next 2 are going to be on Fridays. We're doing Final Fight 3 from Super Nintendo from Capcom. Before we do that, though, I'm hitting the B button, going out to my menu with folders. I don't have to complain, by the way, anymore that Switch doesn't have folders. It does now. But yeah, I download stuff on Virtual Console and just other stuff for other systems for it, and I organize them really nicely to show you what I'm calling the Wii U War Chest. This is going to be the first about maybe half an hour of the show, because I always like to give a little extra, something unique for this, and the beat-em-up's usually short, and Final Fight 3 is no exception to that. So I'm saying, let's take a look at everything I have here, because it's always also been a case of stuff that I've been asked for already. And actually, ElecVerse has given me 3 things. He said, I want to see their Final Fight games. We played 2 earlier this year, playing 3 tonight, and we have its next entry that's in the NES folder. Yeah, we'll go down the list, though, of what I have, what I picked up. And the reason I picked some of these things up are because they either cost a lot of money, they're not available in other places, or they might be the only way I can show you some of this stuff without doing some weird stuff, maybe, but take a little sip of my cider. It's like, I have my water for sure as usual, but get a little festive for the holiday. Take a look at what I got, and anything I mention here, feel free to jump in. It's like, hey, what your memories might be on this, any interest of what you might see, like, hey, I want to see this for a show. Like, hey, anything is up for grabs here, and there's stuff I definitely want to show as we go along. First up, we have Adventures of Bayou Billy. This is from Konami. This came out on... Okay, actually, good question to select first. Are those light guns games, and how does that work? Good question. That is one of the things I was mentioning. Was like, how does light guns work? Okay. The Adventures of Bayou Billy was from Konami. It came out on NES in 1990, I think, from the picture. In order to see the date, I had to go into the game. I'm not doing that. But it's got light gun elements. You're saying, wait a second, how's that work? I used the NES Zapper. Well, on Virtual Console, there were a couple games for Zapper they released. They actually reprogrammed them so you use the Wii Remote, and you can use them for light gun. So yeah, they actually are among the only Virtual Console games of Wii or Wii U or even 3DS that they actually changed to make it so you can play them. And since light gun games require a CRT television, well, first off, they don't work on an HD television that I'm running this through. And I don't know how to even make that replicate. I would think maybe you can jerry-rig something so that I could get the HDMI signal going to my CRT TV to play games like Adventures of Bayou Billy and Duck Hunt, famous Duck Hunt, but thankfully on the Wii U, we don't have to do that. We don't have to worry about it because, yeah, just put the Wiimote in or pull it out, and I have the perfect shot by Nyko that I'm going to use whenever we do some of the light gun shooters I have on that system. We can play the light gun shooters. So yeah, Duck Hunt, which came in with the console, Adventures of Bayou Billy, which is from Konami. Yeah, that's how we're getting it operating. So basically, because the other thing also to mention this is that the Wii U is actually backwards compatible on the Wii, and they took advantage of that for the fact of, okay, fine, you have your Wii Remote, you'll sync it to this, and you have your sensor bar that comes with the Wii U, so I have 2 of them. That's how it operates. Also, second question, why didn't they have it on the Wii? Yeah, good question too. That I can't necessarily answer. It would have been fitting because there were some interesting things that the Wii was doing, saying like, hey, that would have been a great option, but on the Wii, they didn't. So it's like, yeah, Duck Hunt's a famous one for Nintendo. Came bundled in with a ton of systems. I mean, the one I got has the combo card of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt in it. They didn't replicate it for the Wii. As far as I'm aware, the only game I know of that had a program to it that was unique. Okay, a couple things on the Wii were, let me think about this. Sonic and Knuckles, which was on the Genesis side of that. It actually did have lock-on emulation going, so you could have the lock-ons of Sonic 1, 2, and 3 if you had those on your unit. And then the other one was Pokemon Snap, which we played on this unit, by the way. That one has pictures you can save to the Wii message board. So as far as why they didn't do it, I don't know. I guess Nintendo thought, hey, they couldn't do it, or something. Or it might be like Earthbound. We're going to get to Earthbound, including its prequel. That was not on the Wii either. So, good question. That's going to be take it up with Nintendo, but if there is an answer, I will put an edit in a couple days, because just to remind everybody how this works if you're new to the program. If you are, welcome. And if you're not, well, either way, it's like, in the next couple days, I'll do edits for things like there's content, or if I have editing fodder, which actually for Final Fight 3, I might have some. I'll put that in, and I'll upload to the YouTube site that's linked over there in Twitch's window somewhere. I'm pointing, you can't see me pointing, but it's over there. Yeah, if I can find an answer for that, I'll also have an edit down below saying, oh, by the way, here's why. I don't know if they ever went into why on the light gun shooters for that. So yeah, Adventures of Bayou and Duck Hunt were exclusive to Wii U, as was Wild Gunman. What, you gotta use your hands? That's like a baby's toy, for all of you Back to the Future 2 fans. And Hogan's Alley. So yeah, they had all 4 of these, so that means that for the purpose of our show, we can show off all 4 of these. In fact, it might be worth just running a night specifically of those 4 games together, I think. Unless Bayou is longer, I don't know that specifically. But I bought them exactly for the reason you said, ElecVerse. Like, hey, I want to show this light gun stuff. I don't have ways to do that for, like, the CRT stuff. And the NES does not have a mouse to it, the way that some of the consoles do. I realized for stuff on Super Nintendo and Sega Saturn and other consoles that had light gun games, some of them do work with a mouse. So I could just get the mouse for those systems. Well, for Saturn, I have the one for Super Nintendo. We use that and then run them that way. But yeah, there you go. That is how you're getting your light gun action on the system. And I guess it was something that Nintendo was stepping up to that and saying that, okay, we're going to give you more for NES on this, including this one, and people were ecstatic to see this, including Gemini 96. He's going to be on for the first, technically, game of this franchise, but the actual first was this one. This is Earthbound Beginnings, or Mother, as it was known. It came out on the Famicom in 1990 as the first entry in that franchise that started here with Earthbound. Earthbound I have as well this way. I don't think we'll play it that. We're going to run the Switch online version, I believe, because then we can show the Japanese version off a little bit for the differences. But yeah, this was exclusive to Wii U as far as download to start. It's also on the Switch Online now. So you can get it there if you have that app for it or that subscription element. But yeah, this is the first one for NES for that. Also, when I think of Adventures of Bayou Billy, the AVGN, or the Angry Video Game Nerd, and Pat the NES Punk come to mind. I do remember the Angry Video Game Nerd mentioning Bayou Billy a little bit, and I guess Pat the NES Punk as well. I'll figure something to that as far as like link stuff, and also when the edit happens, the link list as far as all that stuff. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Actually, here's the thing. I bought this because it was $5, all the NES stuff except for Earthbound Beginnings, which was $6. I think that was the only one with $6. Okay, Euphoria the Saga was $6 as well, because these were, fine. This was a Japanese only game they didn't translate it. This was Japan only, and they brought it over here for this, and on the Wii as well. I don't think I actually played this. I said, like, I just want to buy this because I want to have that element. It's like, hey, it's an NES game, because this game doesn't cost much. Bayou Billy is like a $10, $15 game, so it doesn't cost a lot, but showing on the show is question. So that's how that's operating. And either way, it's like, yeah, we can put edits as far as that, or links as far as the others of AVGN and Pat the NES Punk for them going into that. But yeah, Earthbound Beginnings, the RPG of very interesting and weird settings to it, but something that's very beloved, to the point where, as I said, there are 3 games in this franchise. We just don't have the 3rd one. That's another one. Maybe Nintendo will listen. They listened to 2 things I said on the show last week, or 2, we said. Oh, you have the link right there, the video wrestling. Thank you so much, ElecVerse. That'll go on the link list when I edit. And it gives more context to everything you're going to see tonight for it. And thank you so much for that as well. Next up, as far as that, we also have Gargoyle's Quest 2, which actually, interesting enough, is from the same producer. It's from Capcom as well. It's from the same producer of Final Fight 3 that we're going to play. That is Takeru Fujiwara, who also was the producer on the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse we played a couple weeks ago. And the next game in the Final Fight franchise we're going to play, which is Mighty Final Fight. This is the game that's over $300 if you're going for this on the NES, because it was a late release. It was 1993. So it's $5 on this. So I was like, I'm taking this because, like, you said you wanted the other Final Fight games. I was like, yeah, I'm giving you the other Final Fight games. And this is easily the cheapest way to do it. And it makes it so that, yeah, I can show these easily that way. And then after that, then I guess we got to go to Final Fight Streetwise. And there's also Final Fight Revenge on the Sega Saturn, but that's almost an $1,000 game. That might be out of reach. Maybe. We'll see to that, potentially. But that's the other one. Also, Gargoyle's Quest. My brother had the Game Boy version. I actually did download the Game Boy version that's on the 3DS's Virtual Console. At some point, I should just have my 3DS on to kind of go through what I have for that. I download both of those because both of these go for a lot of money. They star Firebrand the Gargoyle, who is kind of based off the Gargoyle enemies from the Ghosts and Goblins games. And Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts. And for that, he had his own games, which were kind of platforming games. It's a little like Ninja Gaiden to some degree, but also Gargoyle's Quest 2. I put it in this week just to get a sense of what was it dealing with on this. It kind of starts like an RPG a little bit, and then you go into these 2D stages a little bit where you're kind of doing wall climbs, and the way platforming is working on that is kind of unique for how it operates, and it's not only costs a lot of money. So that was the other reason I wanted to pick it up, and also because it's something with Capcom, and yeah, the Capcom stuff tends to be things that people want to have. And it is a unique one, and same with Mighty Final Fight, which is kind of like a little bit of a parody of the first Final Fight game a bit. You have these very chibi, anime-ish looking versions of all of the main characters in the first game, it's kind of having some fun with the original game in terms of its plot. And what it is that it's kind of like the old Final Fight, but also has a little bit of River City Ransom to it a little bit. It's a unique one. It's one that, yeah, I'm glad they have it re-released because, yeah, it's expensive otherwise. And maybe here's the other underlying thing. People see the fact that I'm looking over this stuff saying, hey, we haven't seen this in a while. Maybe some companies want to re-release some of this stuff if it's not already available for re-release or it's not, expensive. Like this. This is Zoda's Revenge, Star Tropics 2. For some reason, Nintendo has re-released the first Star Tropics game on the Switch Online in a lot of the places. Not so much with its sequel, which is not expensive. It's kind of like Earthbound a little bit in terms of how it understands itself. And definitely has this kind of interesting macabre style. I know Emetics, who is involved with Parasite Eve, he's going to be involved with this finale that next month. He loves these games, especially the first one. That's a unique one, and for that reason I said, I want to buy this, because, yeah, they haven't re-released this. Maybe somebody will hear. It's a unique one. Definitely a little bit of an acquired taste, and a late one for NES, but one that's still pretty interesting. You guys see that with, like, the V and the Revenge there, because, like, a hand. Also, there's this one. I gotta show this just because I think this could be a funny one if you've never played this. And it's technically part of a franchise. It's called Spelunker. It was published by Broderbund, who made the Carmen Sandiego games. It was not them who made it. They just published. But it's kind of a... I'm trying to think about the best way to put this. It's kind of a spelunking game where it's kind of like an arcadey thing like Donkey Kong, where you're going down into like a mine shaft, and you have to kind of collect items, defeat ghosts and things. But when you do jump on it, or you're doing jumping and things, you fall from like a very small height, you're dying. It's insanely frustrating, insanely hard. I think actually, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was Cinemassacre who showed me this, and I was howling at this game, and I said, okay, it's $5, I gotta play this. Like, this game is annoying, but it is interesting, if nothing else. Also, here's the Happy Video Game Nerd reviewing the Gargoyle's Quest trilogy. Thank you so much, ElecVerse, for that. Actually, that's one of his, it's Uncle Derek, as far as the Stop Skulls Finding channel as he is now. I don't think actually I've seen some of his early days stuff. As a unique one, I guess, as far as that. I'll have to take a look at that. Thank you for providing that. Spelunker's gonna be a funny one, I will say that for sure. Then there's also Euphoria the Saga, which is by Sunsoft. This actually is getting re-released on Switch, I think, next year. In some way. I don't know if it's like a standalone thing or it's going on Switch Online. I think it's a standalone. But it's kind of this platform game. I played a little bit, not much, but it was something that's kind of unique. Then there's Versus Excitebike, which is on Switch Online as it is. It's kind of a sort of head-to-head take on Excitebike that is pretty fun, and it was only on the Famicom Disk System in Japan. So this is actually its first release here, and now Switch does have it. And the Wild Gun was mentioned, and Zoda's Revenge, Star Tropics 2. That's why I'm running NES, and also Bayonetta in the disc tray. Yeah, we can get to Bayonetta eventually. But I said, I wanted to show all this for certain things, because you're really like, how do we do stuff with light guns? In fact, we'll go this way. You're saying, how can we do stuff with DS until I mod my 3DS or something? Well, here's how. I downloaded as many things as I could from DS for this. So I was like, hey, let's get running on DS, because otherwise I don't have a way to show this. It's gonna be weird showing this, because you actually have to have the gamepad running for playing all of these games, which I was not expecting for some of them, like Yoshi's Island 2 or Yoshi's Island DS. I was thinking like, oh, I can use the controller, the Pro Controller for this, but no, you can't. And the screen display is very strange. At some point, I'll have to show elements of that. But yeah, as far as what we got here, I have Advance Wars Dual Strike. I know, like you mentioned early at the beginning of the year, or early and at the beginning of the year, that the Advance Wars 1 and 2 rebooted was indefinitely delayed, and Nintendo claims it's not canceled because of the war in Ukraine that's still going on, but they haven't said anything about it except that, oh, they haven't canceled it. And like, I think at this point, they're done making excuses. I think they need to release that and stop hurting Way Forward, who developed it. Although Way Forward, I guess, is doing okay for themselves with River City Girls 2 that just came out. But yeah, you gave a good suggestion that unfortunately you didn't listen to. So I was like, yeah, I'm shaking my fist, my invisible fist, as far as that. And Nintendo, fine, I have bigger fish to fry with them with the Pokemon game that came out. But still, it's like, you had a good idea saying like, hey, if they have to delay it anywhere, they decided to delay it. How about you put in the DS Advance Wars game? They didn't, but I said, fine, you know what? They're not going to give it to you, I can give it to you. We can show that game. As far as the entry of the Advance Wars series that started on NES initially as Famicom Wars, and then I think there was a Super Famicom one, and then Game Boy Advance got it, and it was a big hit over here. Yeah, I'm still pissed at that. Yeah, I get that, but like, hey, if nothing else, we're putting the idea out there. It's like, because sometimes they'll listen to something. They'll say like, hey, you know what's going on with this? As I said, just to emphasize something, because as I said, there are two things that came out last week. I mentioned how good the music in the Snowboard Kids franchise is, and then Atlas and Sega said, oh, we're going to stream all the music from these games starting on Christmas. I mentioned where's that release date on that Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection? They said, okay, it's April 14th next year. So they are listening, but that's also to say, I just want to emphasize one thing. I don't actually work in any video game industry. So it's not like, oh, I have my connections. I'm calling up people on the phone saying, oh, we have good ideas, listen to us, or like strong-arming them or something. Like, no, I'm not, but I guess they're hearing it, so maybe they're hearing now. Maybe they're hearing the idea of bringing back Advance Wars for the DS. I guess, ElecVerse, tell me this. What's your experience with the Advance Wars? Because I have not played any of them. I just bought them on this, because I said they're not re-releasing, or not doing the re-releases of 1 and 2 on Switch yet. Who knows when they are. But I said, fine. For the purpose of that, let's play it, because I do like my Fire Emblem stuff as well. And I have that there. This is the DS one. We have 2 screens going. I heard it was really, really good as far as it. Also, I'll tell you one other thing. I also bought some games here I actually own on the DS as well, because I said, I want to show these so badly, including Kirby Canvas Curse. This might be my favorite game on the DS. Well, fine, it's one of them. Elite Beat Ages is my favorite game on the DS, but this is such a fantastic game as far as basically showing drawing with the touchscreen with Kirby. It is a terrific game from actually 17 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. And it's one I want to show. It's like, hey, if I have to buy this again for the purpose of running it for Wii U Virtual Console to show it to all of you, I'm going to do it. And there is a sequel to this game that's on Wii U anyway that I definitely have as well that can be in the conversation for sure. My first time I played it would be the collection. So, okay, so you're saying that with Advance Wars, you're basically waiting to play it. You probably, I don't know, pre-ordered it or waiting for it to come out, and it's like, yeah, you haven't it, if they release it. Okay. I mean, Nintendo said they're not canceling it, but I was like, I wish they'd say something feasibly. Maybe they will. It's like, look, I said I asked these questions about some of these things. A couple days later, they listened. They listened to some good ideas, for sure. And it's not just me saying, like, oh, this is a good idea. I mean, chat, you said stuff. Like, first, you said last week, the Power Rangers collection idea. We're planting the seeds. We've talked about certain things about this. We talked about, maybe Suikoden can come back. It's coming back. Who knows? I mean, maybe that's going to be the next thing. From what I understand on the Advance Wars thing, it's done pretty much, or mostly. So I think at that point, that'll be the next step. We'll see what's going on with that, but I have Kirby Canvas Curse, as I mentioned, as well as the other 2 Kirby games on this. The other 2 they put up here, because they put up Kirby Mass Attack, which kind of like a little bit of a Pikmin case, where Kirby splits into like 10 elements of himself, and you just solve puzzles and do combat, like flicking the touchscreen for it. And Kirby Squeak Squad, which is kind of a traditional sort of Kirby platformer. Weirdly enough, they didn't put up Kirby Superstar Ultra, which is the remake of Kirby Superstar from the Super Nintendo. That's the one that didn't come out for this, but I was like, fine, get the other ones, get this, because I want to show Canvas Curse. I love it. And also the Zeldas for the DS. There were 2 of them that were based in the Toon Link element. With the Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, we were doing trains, and Phantom Hourglass, we were back on the boat. All controlled by touchscreen, all really, really good. So at that point, it's like, more Zelda, we can get to those eventually, although, I think I might have mentioned this. I think the next Zelda we're going to do Link's Awakening. I think we can do the Switch version, I'm pretty sure. So I think we'll do that. We'll do that next year, because it's going to be the 30th anniversary. Also about Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, so when we get to the idea of Mario and Luigi, again, or the Mario RPGs, after we do Paper Mario, and after we do, I guess this will come out, so you said, what is it? For God's sake, Activision is stopping Call of Duty from coming out on the system. Yeah, fair enough. I know that. I mean, that's that idea specific. But, yeah, so we'll see for that. As far as, like, the milieu of that, good point. I mean, there you go. Or as I like to indicate as far as that, people say, like, yeah, who cares about Call of Duty on the Switch? To which I say, hey, I know you're liking Pokemon, but hey, unlike Pokemon, Call of Duty works. There's not a broken version of it the way there is with Pokemon, so, yeah. And they didn't listen to me on that one either. I was sounding the alarm last year with the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl case, saying, hey, these games are unfinished, they're not in good shape. It crashed on one of my coworkers, which was an isolated incident, admittedly. I will be fair to that. But it's like, wait a minute, no. At this point, yeah, enough's enough. It's been long enough. I think Nintendo, you got an element to that for going back to Advance Wars things. Like, yeah, I guess underlying here is Nintendo, I think you're set for Advance Wars. You got people who will buy it. I mean, I'd buy it too, just because I want to see also what the differences with the advanced one are, which I do have here. But yeah, with Mario and Luigi Partners Time, I don't like this one very much, honestly. I actually had it. I played it for a while, and I actually got to the one point in the game they ask you to use the stylus when they go like 12 hours without asking you to use it at all. That's the only time they use it in the game. I got so mad about that, I basically sold my copy. But now it costs a lot of money, like $50, $60. So I said, fine, it's on this, let me download it, I can reckon with it. It's not a horrible game, it's just that I love Mario Luigi Superstar Saga in particular. And they're like, yeah, this is not the great follow-up that I was wanting, but either way. Also, Mario Hoops 3-on-3, which was kind of hidden a little bit. This is from Square, interestingly enough. It's a sports game that Square Enix developed for the DS with Mario in it. So I was like, okay, that seems unique. It's another one that is not going to be easily shown because of DS. And also Mario Kart DS, which is a lot of fun for sure. Although, one thing to indicate is with all this stuff, a lot of the features that were in it on DS are not present. So like online for Mario Kart. I mean, they've turned the online for DS off years ago, but it doesn't have that. It doesn't have like wireless modes for certain things. Oh, of Mario Hoops 3-on-3? Yes, this was developed by Square Enix. In fact, I believe you can unlock, I'm trying to remember what's the wizard character, the thing Vivi is from, the race that Vivi from Final Fantasy IX is. Mario Hoops 3-on-3 is developed by Square, so they do have that tie-in. I was shocked too. I was like, wait, Square making a sports game? Except for Blitzball and Final Fantasy X, have they made a sports game at all? Square and sports, somehow they don't mix. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for that reason, it might just be worth looking at this at some point, just because I heard it was decent as far as this one is concerned. Yeah, I mean, it says right there, you can sort of maybe briefly look. If you look at the logo, you see in the lower right-hand corner of it, Square Enix. It does say it there. I might zoom in or something for that to show it, or show a picture of the title screen from this, but yes, it is. I mean, we mentioned this before. In fact, ElecVerse, you mentioned it in Kingdom Hearts. You said Square was trying to branch out into other genres. When Kingdom Hearts came out, this was a ways after. I think it was 2000, I don't know, 6, 7, 8. I'll have the full year of it, or the actual year of it below when I edit. But yeah, talk about branching out specifically. It's like, fine, we did sort of platforming stuff with certain things. We did the fight shooting case with, Einhander on PlayStation. We did beat 'em ups with the bouncers, so fitting for what we're doing tonight. They did fighting games with Bushido Blade. Kingdom Hearts was kind of amalgamating a bunch of things that way, and then basketball. So there you go. Mario Hoops 3-on-3 for that. So that's the interesting thing. And also, because we were talking Star Fox eventually, like, when we get to Star Fox, again, Dolly Finn wanted to see Star Fox 2 for Super Nintendo. That's the next one I'm going to do, but Star Fox Command was up here for DS, so I said, okay, let's play this eventually, or get this so I can play it, which is kind of a mix of strategy with Star Fox a little, that is designed by Dylan Cuthbert, who made the original Star Fox game and Star Fox 2. In fact, it was at that point he said, I was working on this game. That was kind of the indication that people found, like, hey, Star Fox 2 is done, or was basically done, pretty much. Like, I saw a basically almost finished version of this. And then it was 2018, 19, whenever the Super Nintendo Classic Edition year came out, Star Fox 2 was on that, and it's on Switch Online as well. But this was this element, and it also had multiple weird endings. Yeah, Star Fox Command is the forgotten child of the series, and given how there are multiple endings to this, it's almost like Shadow the Hedgehog a little bit, in the sense that when you're playing through it, there's certain things that can happen where it kind of ended up almost writing Krystal out of the series, weirdly enough, which I know is going to make Sarandri Antonio sad, because when he was on the show, he's like, I love Star Fox Adventures on the GameCube, as far as Krystal, the character in that. And I pointed him to Star Fox Assault on the GameCube for that as well. But there's some weird stuff that happens with her, even like ties to F-Zero with this. So people forget it, but it is something that it is unique. It's like, hey, it's another Star Fox game. We love our Star Fox. Played Star Fox 64 and Star Fox on Super Nintendo. Great games. So looking more at Star Fox. So there you go. There is more Star Fox on top of the Star Fox games that were on the system already, which were Star Fox Guard and then Star Fox Zero, which I do have both of those. So you can run those. Then also we have Super Mario 64 DS. When we get to Super Mario 64, we'll show the Nintendo 64 off specifically, I think. But there's unique stuff in that DS version that said, I want to get this and show it off. I don't like Krystal. As a character, as this concept, maybe it's also the thought of, because with Star Fox Adventures, remember, it was not going to be a Star Fox game until Shigeru Miyamoto got involved. And at that point, they said, fine, we'll change it. Both. I think with Assault, did you play Assault on the GameCube? I think with that one, they kind of went some okay directions with her. And actually, some people's like, hey, this game, honestly, is kind of almost like really having it out for her in terms of how she's taken. So honestly, you might ironically like this one, because apparently she goes through the emotional ringer in this one. So I like the idea of the character. With me, with Krystal, my experience mostly is with Star Fox Assault. I didn't play Adventures specifically. But maybe the thought that, hey, there's not much there. And I know with Adventures, from what I've understood, it's something that you don't really have a whole lot of a connection with her, because she's put into a crystal at the beginning of the game. It's the start of the game. And hey, talk about your, obvious elements as far as, symbolism that way. when actually the Dinosaur Planet game that was started on Nintendo 64, she was going to be playable. So like then they took her away, and like there's Fox. But I mean, we can take a look at that at some point. I'm going to be curious actually, because I don't know specifically how Surrender Antonio's element is as far as that game. He said he likes it and is interested in Krystal as a character. That would be an interesting one just to kind of get that back and forth, because except for Assault, which she's fine with, I don't really have much of a reference. And then also, as far as the other stuff I have DS, I have Yoshi's Island DS. This is the actual sequel to Yoshi's Island that's developed by Artoon, which actually ex-members of Sonic Team who made the Blinks of the Time Sweeper games on Xbox. I was like, hey, this is in the style of Yoshi's Island itself. It's not as good, unfortunately. In fact, at the beginning of it felt like, oh, it's so derivative of it. It's not bad, though. It's just that maybe it's just because the Yoshi's Island franchise has kind of been its own worst enemy, where Yoshi's Island was so good, and then every other one was either compared to it, partially because Nintendo forced that, and I'll show you on the N64 page what that's about, or it's just something that it's like every other attempt at being Yoshi's Island, the first one, or following up, it was not that. I mean, this was that one. There was New Island, which was on the 3DS, which retcons the entirety of the ending of the first Yoshi's Island game. And like, yeah, people weren't happy to that, to the point where I guess now they have good feel doing the Woolly World and the Crafted World games specific. What bothers me about Krystal, I'd say, is that I see nothing but potential, but she's ultimately a damsel of distress, and in Star Fox Command, she's a major bitch from what I hear, and she's not a good replacement for Peppy, because, yeah, you're right. In Star Fox Assault, she is... Peppy is not as part of the Star Fox team as far as flying the planes anymore. In Command, I've understood that element as well, and then also, you're right, the damsel of distress. In fact, actually, it's interesting. Nocturne said that interesting enough about Kairi in Kingdom Hearts. She has a big problem with how that franchise is handled, Kairi specific, but then the idea of, like, how can that really, go over that, or maybe do something a little different to kind of make you forget that. But I guess with Krystal, specifically for adventures, and then I guess with Command, it doesn't really do that, which I guess maybe that explains why when Star Fox Zero came out, they said, yeah, Crystal's gone. It's like, that's the idea. But you're right, good potential as far as character. You probably saw that with, and I'll find a link of this as well, the footage they gave, or the beta of Dinosaur Planet when it was on Nintendo 64, which is kind of giving the idea of like what the character was going to be like, what that idea was going to be looking like as far as it, and maybe giving more agency to her for that. So I'm going to get that for sure. And last on DS page is WarioWare Touch. I love my WarioWare. I have this on DS itself. I want to show this. It's so wacky. It's also a good one for Halloween, especially get to Ashley's stage where you have this like Disney Halloween like music take of her theme song, like the "Who's the girl next door living in the haunted mansion? You better learn my name 'cause I am Ashley." I'm definitely gonna love to get to that when we play WarioWare Touch. So yeah, that is there, and I'll go quick with the rest because I don't have as much on some other stuff. TurboGrafx is mostly limited because this is stuff that either costs a fucking fortune, like Shockman, which is actually like Mega Man, sure. I know lots of people love Krystal, even going into, I guess, more adult territory, but she gives Renamon a run for the money. Who's that? Renamon? Who's that? I'm trying to remember what franchise. Is that Digimon? Oh, yeah, I don't know, unfortunately. You go back quickly for the TurboGrafx thing. Yeah, these are things that A, cost a lot of money, and B, were not on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini that I have, which we'll use when we get to, Castlevania Rondo of Blood. Yeah, Break-In, which is a pool game. Bonk 3, which is the third Bonk game. It doesn't have the third one on there. That's really expensive, like $400. Oh, Renamon is from Digimon Tamers. Okay. That's one I guess maybe we should take a look at as far as franchise. I don't have my perspective on Digimon that much. I know that people do. Nocturne being one of them. But it might be an interesting element to that, to get a sense of, like, what that element was. I mean, I was focusing on Pokemon at the time, and then later, maybe the idea of a similar element of the character. I'll at least have a picture of Renamon just to get a sense of, like, who is this? Because it'll be me finding out. I love that. I like that back and forth, the idea that it's not just me sitting here talking to you for, well, almost 45 minutes. Jesus Christ. Okay. I guess I better get to the game you want to see eventually. But, that being said, this is the other element of that, kind of giving you something more. And me learning too, so it's not just me saying like, hey, look over Bonk's Adventures, this is a great game, or Bonk's Third Adventure, I should say, Bonk's 3, Bonk's Big Adventure. It's just the idea of kind of going to that, and hey, I'm learning along with you, and I appreciate that, for sure. And then this is the one I definitely bought for this, because this is not on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, and it crushed my heart for it. Devil's Crush, which is a pinball game with horror elements. This is fantastic. I love this game. I actually played this for the first time when I was at MagFest a couple years ago. They had a Turbo Duo set up. They had this set up. Actually, a friend that St. Aspartame knows, because I saw him when I was there. and she was saying, like, I grew up with TurboGrafx-16 playing this game. I was like, yeah, you're right, this game is awesome. It's up there with Pokemon Pokemon Pinball 2, which I do want to show off at some point, and Kirby's Pinball Land for something really good as far as video game pinball. It's nice stuff. And Shockman's a game that costs a lot of money. It's like Mega Man a little bit. It's pretty fun. I actually put it in a couple days ago just to take a look at it, but it's a fun one and a unique one. And then in World Sports Competition, we're talking about the track and field element. We did Mischief Makers. This is another one that's expensive. It's by Hudson Soft specific, but it's one that was kind of unique, and I don't have it somewhere else, so that is that. And then... Okay, fine. We'll take a brief look on Wii U, because I have stuff that's downloaded for not Virtual Console. I have Art of Balance, which is like a balancing puzzle game that's actually pretty cool. Nocturne got me into this. I have the Amiibo Tap, which is this free download that you put amiibos to your Wii U, and get free demos of Virtual Console games. I got Devil's Third, because this game costs $200 as opposed to $30 here. It was from Tomonobu Itagaki, who made Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, and it's this insanely vulgar and insanely bloody, I guess, hack and slash game that Nintendo published. You want to talk about things Nintendo doesn't want to acknowledge anymore. It's this. It got a very limited physical run that goes for over $200 now. It was downloaded for $30. You're saying, like, why blow your $30 bucks away on this thing? To quote the movie Moonstruck, it costs money because it saves money. Because, yeah, this is a fortune. Like, I just want to see, is this game really that bad? Yeah, it's not good at all. But it is, yeah, it's fascinating if nothing else. Here's Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I got this for free, by the way, because when Club Nintendo closed down about 10 years ago, they gave a free game to people, a free selection of things, and actually, this is the thing of the most value they gave out. Like, I don't have this game. I love Donkey Kong Country, as we showed, and we'll show when we go to Donkey Kong Country 3 next. I think I want to see if we can't do that starting in February or March. I have to figure that with schedule, with what Nocturne wants to do, what Nikki wants to do with her play of Freddy Fish. But I'm going to do that one at some point. This is another really good game. I guess maybe I'm thinking of this because the Some Call Me Johnny channel just looked at this and Donkey Kong Country Returns, which is a Wii game specific. That's one. This is not something I've completed. This is technically free. This is Fatal Frame Made in Blackwater. This actually got re-released last year when we finished Fatal Frame 1. There's sort of a demo of it. And then this was digital only on this system where you download the episodes. I think it totaled up to $50. But I said, this is free to be able to play it, so at least you can get a sense of, like, it's kind of me demoing the game that's out on the other systems now, because it's on everything. It's on Switch, it's on PS4, it's on Xbox One, it's on the PC, and I think it's physical on PS4 and Switch. It's like, okay, more Fatal Frame, and getting ready for Fatal Frame 4, finally getting its US release. Or we were talking about things that Nintendo didn't want to touch for years. Yeah, Fatal Frame 4 from the Wii, that was in Japan only, coming out. So there's that. And going back to my love of WarioWare, we have WarioWare, or Game & Wario. Another one that's a lot of money. It's like $100-something. And it uses the gamepad in unique ways, and it's one that's like, fine, let me get this. It is unique. I don't know if I'd say it's the best WarioWare game, but given the price, yeah, that's why I took it. Humanitarian Helicopter. This is a freebie. I don't know what this really is. I think it's supposed to be like Choplifter, from what I understand. It seemed interesting from it, but I'll have to pull it out eventually. Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge, which I had to use Amiibos. It's like the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games a little bit. Shovel Knight, which I bought on the Switch, or on the Wii U, I should say. This is a great retro indie game, and it's fantastic. Shadow Archery was a freebie. I played it a little bit. I think it was like, either it was free or now it's $1. It's like, okay, that was something unique a little bit. I also have the demo of Star Fox Zero because it has the animation, The Battle Begins, and it's only available with this demo. Actually, that is a unique thing. That's a great animated thing they did for Star Fox Zero. Going back to Star Fox again. The idea that Nintendo really did have some stuff. I love Star Fox. Yeah, that, if you haven't seen that Battle Begins thing, I don't know if I would necessarily get a content strike for that. I can look into that at some point when we get to Star Fox Zero, or if we do Command or do something on this. I can show that animation. It's really good. Or maybe it's online. Maybe there's a link to it. I can make that easier myself for the purpose of that. And then Wii Sports Club, which is also sort of free in the sense that you get the events for free. It's kind of a demo. Otherwise, like, yeah, fine, I'll take it this way. It is physically released, but it costs a lot of money that way. And hey, with Wii Sports, you probably have the Wii games anyway, as do I, and we can show this eventually. Yes, okay, so you'd like to see this. Yes, I don't know if it'd be a content thing to show that, or if it isn't, there's probably a YouTube link I can get to. And then I'll go to the next couple systems. Actually, because the next couple I've got big. You know, we'll go there last. Nintendo 64, we played Pokemon Snap. That was a great time we had playing that. Ogre Battle, Person of Lordly Caliber, so that's technically a Square game on this. I guess fitting going to, what is it? Christ, what is it? Oh wait, Tactics Ogre, which just came out about a month ago. It's a strategy RPG, one of the few on the Nintendo 64, and pretty good. Also, good in terms of its translation. They definitely let it be a little more adult, which was kind of unique and fitting for the game and the story they were telling. And it's another one that costs a lot of money, so like, yeah, let me take this. And Bomberman 64 as well. I kind of bought this because it's less to buy it this way. It was $10, and I kind of want to reckon with not being a huge fan of this growing up. And by the way, for Bomberman, this is not the Bomberman we're starting with. ElecVerse, you wanted to see Bomberman World on PlayStation. I gotta get a copy of that, but we're doing that in July. It's gonna be the 4th of July weekend for the purpose of that. Star Fox Zero is a game that's hated by many because of the motion controls, the fact it's a more expensive and inferior version of Star Fox 64. Yeah, and that's an interesting one too. It's by Platinum Games, the people who made Bayonetta. Fitting, like I said, Bayonetta in the disc tray for this one. It's weird that way because you can sometimes sort of turn the motion controls off, but it didn't come with a manual. It was like digital as it always is now. Including on Wii U it was. But it's something that, actually I'll tell you, Nocturne and I did co-op on that. We actually had a really good time playing that way. And I don't think it's a bad game, it's just that some of the way the designs are running are very strange, honestly. And I guess it's also one of those things also because it didn't sell well, people are like, well, it's going to go with Star Fox again. But I don't think it's a bad game, I think it's a pretty good game. It's just, there's a little bit of an adjustment. Platinum only helped doing the cutscenes. Really, I thought, okay, that's interesting. So their name is kind of front and center on this, but they only did the cinematics, really. That's surprising. I would have thought it would kind of involve the gameplay if they had their name as far as publish. I know that Miyamoto's perspective was like, hey, run the Wii U gamepad. Which was a while after the Wii U gamepad was kind of out of the way. Actually, the Switch had already been announced at that point. So it's kind of a weird one. Thank you for indicating that, because I was not completely aware of that. But yeah, we can definitely get to that specifically. Yeah, and then Sin and Punishment, which initially was only on this in Wii U. That was going based on what I heard. Yeah, I'll take your word for it unless I find something else that says, wait, it's something different. I mean, I can sort of see the Platinum thing a little bit with some elements of the gameplay, but even then, it's not completely in direction of a lot of the stuff they've done, I would say. Yeah, Sin and Punishment is by Treasure. This was only on Wii and Wii U initially. It was on Nintendo 64 for Japan. We didn't get it, but then they brought it here. And now it's on Switch on an expansion pack where I don't think it's as well emulated as this version, honestly, so we might just play it on this. And Yoshi's Story, I know, like first you mentioned, your brother loves this game. I love this game too. Talk about a game that's kind of divisive as far as Nintendo. We're going to use this version because the way the controls are operating, it plays really, really well for this. And like the Switch port, it doesn't have the frame rate problems, which I hate Nintendo for the way they ruined that game on that. And Pokemon Snap, we mentioned we played before. All right, the big one though, Jesus Christ, look at this. All the stuff for Game Boy Advance. We're talking Advance Wars. I got both of them. Advance Wars 1 and 2, Black Hole Rising. They're here. Your strategy RPG case with anime flair. So, like, yeah, War never looked so kawaii specific to that. I'll definitely have to pull those out and play them at some point. They're interesting. As well as this one, another one that costs a lot of money. This is Car Battle of Joe. This was published by Natsume. It was developed by Ancient, the team of Yuzo Koshiro's, who made, he worked on Streets of Rage doing the music, and he also did Sonic 1 on the Game Gear, as well as a bunch of other things, and he did Amazing Island on the GameCube. It's kind of a car RPG. You're basically building cars and then doing racing with them. So it's almost like Pokemon meets, I don't know, like RC Pro-Am a little bit. And it's really interesting. It's also another one that costs so much money. I said, I gotta buy it this way, otherwise I'm never gonna play it. And Revenge of Shinobi. Oh yeah. We gotta do Revenge of Shinobi at some point. That's another one I gotta practice for. That game is insanely hard, but I do love it. And he did great music for it, and he did the music for this one, too. It's a unique concept, and one that I missed on Game Boy Advance, so I'm glad it was here, especially because there's multiple hundreds for this. I was like, yeah, the cost money to save money thing, again. And same with Fire Emblem, the Burning Blade, I think, is what this one is. The first one we got, after people played Super Smash Bros. Melee and said, who's Marth and who's Roy? It's like, oh yeah, they're from this game. So here it is. I do like my Fire Emblem specific, at least the first one, which is what I have. I have the first one from Famicom on Switch that you can't buy anymore, unfortunately, the translated one, and the DS remake, which I don't have here. So I'll have to figure getting my 3DS fixed for that. Then Golden Sun, which is by the people who made Shining Force. Golden Sun 1 and 2. The Crochet Nerd 64 said, yeah, you damn well be better buying both of these. Like, I have the first one. It's like, get the other one. It's a complete story then, mostly. Then also the Kirby games, Amazing Mirror, which I have my mixed elements on. Turn to Dreamland, which is a remake of Kirby's Adventure. That does have the Meta Nightmare mode, which is amazing. And this would be the way I could show that, because the one that's in Kirby Superstar Ultra, I'd have to get the 3DS mod running. And then Klonoa. I've mentioned Klonoa a bunch of times from Namco, the platforming game with that creature. Yeah, this is the two on the Game Boy Advance, which were Empire of Dreams and Dream Champ Tournament, which are other ones that cost a lot of money. So, like, I'll take those, my friends, and they're fun as far as the idea of what Klonoa is. And I have to show Klonoa, that first one, specifically, the Door to Phantom Isle. I have it on the PS3, and we'll definitely get to that eventually. And then Konami Crazy Racers, which goes to Mystical Ninja starring Goemon that we're starting in a couple weeks. Goemon from that game is in it, and I believe the ninja from Metal Gear Solid is in this as well. It's a Mario Kart-like game that came out right before Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance. It's almost on the level of it, surprisingly. I love my Mario Kart Super Circuit. And this is kind of getting there, and it has some nice little attentions to details of those franchises for it. And there's Kurokuro Kureen, which is, I think, based on a toy of Nintendo's, I think. Kirby Never Dream is a very good remake adventure. Yes, it is. It's definitely a unique one as far as how it went. Admittedly, it still kept some of the things that kind of annoy me with Adventure, including the idea of the copy ability losing after one hit. I mean, I'll take it, though, as far as the remake of this than this game, which does the same thing. Like, I can't stand that they kept that in Amazing Mirror. Kind of dilutes the game for me. But yeah, you're right, that is a good game. We can definitely show off stuff for that as far as more stuff of Kirby. This is kind of a puzzle game. It's kind of not a physics puzzle game, really. You're kind of tilting this device around. You have to kind of go around the side of course without hitting the side. So it's like the board game Operation. Or when we played Metropolis Street Racer, or we'll do Project Gotham Racing, it's almost like that. I'm baffled why the Game Boy Advance Klonoa games weren't remastered too. Oh, you mean as far as the Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series? Yeah, that was kind of strange. I don't know if maybe it's a source code lost thing. Although there are a lot of Klonoa games we didn't get here. I know there's this volleyball one that was on the PlayStation 1. It never came out in the US. And it's very strange that it didn't, as far as that. Because Klonoa's always been kind of a little bit of a niche franchise. But when you play it, it's this fantastic, fantastic platformer with this real artistry to itself. And the remakes of those two in the Reverie series, they're really well done. Especially the one of the first ones, kind of like a remake of a remake, because it's a remake of the Wii version. And then Klonoa 2, Lunate's Veil, is based on the PS2 game, but enhanced a bit. But yeah, this was only in Japan, the Kurokuro Kureen, so I was like, let me take this. It's also $7. Also, a bunch of the Mega Man stuff. I got the Mega Man Battle Network games before they announced that collection. Got Mega Man Battle Network 1. Oh, fine. I got Battle Chip Challenge, which is not going to be in that Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection that's coming out in April. I also got Mega Man Battle Network 1 and 2, which cost a lot of money. And then 3 Blue, because Nocturne said it was the best one. So, like, okay. So they're here. I mean, we're getting the remakes of them coming later. And they're not exactly going to be ports of these 3 you're seeing here, from what I understand. And they're adding this stuff online. I think that's the reason for that. But yeah, I have those. I got those way before, so that's the idea. I also bought Mega Man in base, because, like, let me see this. I know people say this is the only version of Mega Man base we got in the US. The Super Famicom version didn't come out here. It did get a fan translation. Nocturne has a copy of that, actually, the fan-translated one. I got the Game Boy Advance version. I like it for what it is, and I played the Super Famicom game. I don't think the screen crunch is as horrible as people are saying. Although, then again, maybe it's also the fact that I played Sonic Genesis on the Game Boy Advance, which was not on Virtual Console. In fact, none of the Sega stuff was at all. So fine, it's like, I'll take this. It seems like it runs better, although it's not as optimized as the Mega Man Zero games, which are all on this, but I have the collection that has them. And lastly, Metroid, the 2 Metroid games. I used to have Zero Mission. I lost it. And I was like, then I want to get a copy of this. I realized this is like $80, $90, $100. And these are other ones that haven't come out again either. This is a remake of the first one. It's fantastic. And so is Metroid Fusion, which is the sequel to Super Metroid. These are great games. We've got to do our Metroid stuff. I don't know. Do we start with Super Metroid? I love that one. But also, Metroid Zero Mission would be a really good one to start with. This game is fantastic. One of the best on the Advance. I will definitely say that. And then Pocky and Rocky with Becky, which we have the new remake of the first Pocky and Rocky game. Pocky Rocky in the Game Boy Advance? Yes. It's called Pocky and Rocky with Becky. It is a sequel to Pocky and Rocky 2. The first two were on the Super Nintendo. They cost a lot of money, especially that second one. That second one's like almost $1,000. What is this? Glad you asked. It's very Japanese themed. It's basically this I guess priestess is I believe it's Pocky is the priestess and Rocky is a raccoon. You're going around. It's kind of like it's not a roguelike exactly. You're going around. It's kind of like a top-down shooting game. You're going around and like killing ghosts and things. As far as like these evil spirits that are taking over your temple. It's very weird and stylish. It's not though the same Natsume team who developed the 2 on the Super Nintendo. It's Natsume who published it, but it was another company that made it. It tends to be seen as a bit of a black sheep of this franchise, weird enough, but it's another one that You look at the Natsumi stuff on the Game Boy Advance, my god, it's a fortune. Well, most of it anyway is. Car Battler Joe is one of them, especially this one. There's like $300. So I was like, okay, it's very stylish. It's very unique as far as what it is. And I didn't play that one on the Super Nintendo, although they've remade it on the Switch. It came out, I think, this year. I think it's Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. It's a unique one. It has this very nice Japanese style to it as far as how it is. And even this advanced version is kind of unique, although it is something that it is really hard, the way that the Pocky and Rocky games tend to be. It does work well with two-player, although I think the two-player does not function. No, the two-player does not function. None of the things that two-player on this are running that way on the Wii U. And it is something that, whether it's as good as the other ones, actually, this is the only Pocky and Rocky game I've played. And the exorbitant cost of the other two, except for that remake that just came out, are the reason why. But this is the one that got re-released. The other ones didn't. Well, fine. They were on the Wii Virtual Console, but Wii U never got them, and that was a shame. But it's a unique one. It's one that definitely could show off for that styling. And then this one, this is a case of owning a physical version is actually worse than owning the digital one. This is Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3. What it is it's a Game Boy Advance remake of Super Mario Bros. 3 based on the Super Mario All-Stars version on Super Nintendo. It had connectivity with the e-reader, which was a device you could scan cards in and get extra stuff in your games. There were cards that gave you extra levels. The total cost for all that stuff is about 8 times the price of the $30 that the game cost when it came out on the Game Boy Advance. And it also was the case that the cartridge was not big enough to store all of those levels. And some of the level cards were only released in Japan. So thankfully Nintendo said, alright, for Wii U, let's release it on this. Let's also give you all of the e-reader levels to this. That's why I bought this. So when we get to Super Mario Bros. 3 eventually, and Nocturne is calling dibs on that all day long. She has to be involved in that one. She loves that game to death. We're going to show the extra levels off in this. In fact, this is better than it is on the Game Boy Advance. I had it on the Game Boy Advance years ago. I sold it. I'm not a big fan of it on the Advance itself. And that money-milking thing as far as it, which it was for the e-reader, which why I collapsed, it's been fixed in this, and it's $8. So I was like, okay, perfect. Unfortunately, this is going away. So Nintendo, if you're going to hold anything specifically from this and bring it back, this would be a nice one to do. Especially if the idea of like, hey, they're going to be putting stuff from Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. Especially when those Pokemon Stadium re-releases come to the Switch Online for Nintendo 64. Maybe get that running. And then last ending where we're going to start after, Jesus Christ, almost an hour. I hope you don't mind this, chat. The fact that I've, run an hour on this show just talking about what I have on the Wii U. I told you this is a war chest. I told you I had a lot. So I will also have a link early on, or a little indication, so like, Final Fantasy 3 starts at this timestamp. But thank you for putting up with this and being active to it as well. But alright, lastly, I like it. Good. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad that I'm not boring you. I mean, maybe here's the idea. It's like, look, you don't... I guess you can be in a case of not being bored, because then it's like, okay, what's this? Hey, I have memories with this. We can get into a discussion on certain things, like with Krystal, with Star Fox, and other aspects of like Kirby and Yuzo Koshiro and Advanced Wars and all that. For sure. I mean, in that case, I said that's also the unique thing, is that that's what I've loved about the show. This is why I love doing it. This is why I do it every week. And even the idea, as I said, the next 2 weeks are going to be Friday shows. But I'm not stopping. Like, fine, we're not going to... This is this last Saturday show. I was like, yeah, we're still having one a week. Because it really is this great thing, and all of you make it that way. And I thank you so much for it. I can't thank you enough. You should thank you at the end of the show. I was like, no, we're doing it now for the purpose of that. All right, last stop, Super Nintendo. Because we're going to stop with Final Fantasy 3 and finally play that game soon enough. First up, as far as what I have here, Axelay. This is from Treasure, or at least the arm of Konami that became Treasure before they made Gunstar Heroes. This is one of the last games they made for Konami. It's kind of a fight shooting game, like a horizontal fight shooting game. Oh no, vertical shooter. As far as it, you're on a plane shooting stuff around. It has these really great rotational and sprite scaling effects, and really interesting stuff of what you can do with your ship as far as powering it up. And I played that. I was like, yeah, I get the sense. It's like you almost see like a precursor to Ikaruga or Radiant Silvergun a little bit with this one. And that's a unique one. Another one that costs a lot of money on Super Nintendo. It's like, hey, it's a Treasure game, basically, that has not been re-released much, and it costs a lot of money on its normal system. $8 for that? Yeah, I'm sold. Also sold on Earthbound, because it's a game that people love. Gemini96 loves this game, and he's going to be in next year when we start playing this as the RPG we're going to do after Lunar, Silver Star Story Complete. He adores this game. This was its first re-release. It's a game that costs multiple hundreds of dollars if you're going on the Super Nintendo. It has reached cult status like you would not believe, and when you play it, you kind of see why, because it's something that it does not play like a lot of other RPGs. in terms of its story, in terms of its style, in terms of even its elements of gameplay. Even the unique thing of when you're in battle and you get hit by an attack. Usually in a lot of RPGs, you get, like we saw this with Sailor Moon of the Story, Dogfin. You remember, I put Sailor Venus, your favorite, in front of the formation. She got hit with an attack like 700 HP. She fell dead on the field. In Earthbound, when that happens, you have a little counter going down. And if you can get yourself recovered before that counter goes down to 0, as it kind of goes down like a digital readout, or like a physical readout, it's like the numbers going down like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like, yeah, if you could recover yourself at that point, you're going to be good. You can basically survive, and that's awesome. And it's a lot of unique stuff that this game is doing. It became a cult classic for a reason. And yeah, people still want that third game. And another one, Nintendo, please, we're begging. Final Fight 2, we played this actually, it feels like it's last year. It was early this year, back in January. But yeah, the last Final Fight game we played, we'll get to 3 in just a second. Yeah. To quote the Crochet Nerd 64, oh god, here we go. Yeah, Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo, which came out in 1997. It is a game I own on the Super Nintendo. Actually, you know what? Technically, it's not my copy. It's my brother's copy. I'm not going to lie. I gave it to him as a birthday gift when it came out in 1997, because we wanted to play this game so badly. It's also a game that costs $400 now. It actually is the most expensive Super Nintendo game I own. And I have it in box, although it's not honestly in great condition in box as it is. But also, one other thing to keep in mind, because of the split off of Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons, the fact that Exceed and Marvelous own the remnants of what Harvest Moon was as far as Story of Seasons, and Natsume is the name of it, this is never getting re-released. You're looking at this is $8 on this and on new 3DS. And it is on the Switch Online for Japan side, so if you have the Japan app for that, which I've indicated how to do that in past shows, I'll give another indication here, I think in the link list. Yeah, you're not going to be able to ever play this again. It's never going to get re-released unless they do like Story of Seasons, like Classic or something for that, which they can, because they do have the rights to it. I mean, we're getting Harvest Moon, Friends of Middletown. Oh no, we got Friends of Middletown this year. We're getting A Wonderful Life, which is on GameCube, and Another Wonderful Life. They're just running its Story of Seasons as far as the name. So they could get re-released that way. Same with Harvest Moon 64, which I don't have on this, but I have it on the Nintendo 64 itself. They did put it on Virtual Console for this, but yeah, unique farming sim game, kind of the precursor to Stardew Valley. And I do want to show this at some point. I'm going to figure out how I want to handle that. I said I want to do it in seasons for playing it, but I don't know. I'll think that over specific. Also, Super Mario Kart. This was on sale. I think it was one of the rare cases where they had a Virtual Console game on sale. I took it. The Super Nintendo game, celebrating 30 years this year. It's wonderful. We're going to start with this one when we get to Super Mario Kart. We played this 2 years ago. Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures. This is a case of me trying to figure out what was my tech like. I have it on the Sega Genesis, so we're going to show it that way. I didn't know as far as the idea of like how resolutions of screens were working, so connecting it into my tech before I had the RetroTink device that I used for my old systems, I got no picture. I said, what am I going to do? I got to do something about this. This was on Virtual Console for the Super Nintendo version. We played it. I raged. It was funny. Go back about 2 years. It was one of the earliest shows I did. It is interesting. Then Mega Man X3, which this is the first re-release of the Super Nintendo version, which is why I have it here. It was like, yeah, I want to have this version specific to play it. And Mega Man 7, which, ElecVerse, I know you said you're a big one on Mega Man 7. We're going to play this game again. I played it before, using the Mega Man Legacy Collection 2. But this is actually a direct port of the Super Nintendo game. It's the only direct port. It even has some of the stuff that the other versions cut out, including the closing cutscene that the Mega Man Anniversary Collection doesn't have, and being able to dig up the Game Boy with the Rush search that the other releases didn't have either. In fact, everyone doesn't have it except this and the Super Nintendo. Because it was like $300. Yeah, I got it this way. We'll do this again because I think it deserves to be played again as far as the idea of this. And Nocturne Evolved when we get to that, but that's in line. And then last we have The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, the first of the Gambar Goemon games that we got, I think, unless we got Mr. Goemon from the arcade, I don't know. This is on Super Nintendo. We're playing that Nintendo 64 version. This is definitely kind of like Zelda, actually a little bit like Pocky and Rocky, a little bit, especially as far as the styling of itself. And that's a unique one that has not gotten re-released a whole lot since then. And then lastly, Wild Guns, which has a remake that's on the Switch. Wild Guns Reloaded. Western themed, kind of like Wild Arms, so that's why I confused the two. This is the original release that is on Switch Online specific, so you can play it there. It's a unique two-player shooting game. You're kind of shooting into the camera. It's cool stuff, but I've been wasting your time for too damn long. I guess it was such a rush to start Final Fight 3 after spending an hour on what we just saw with the Virtual Console stuff. I forgot to show one folder, the Wii. Alright, so yeah, this is gonna be something for the edit. Okay, so yeah, let's have a quick rundown of what Wii is concerned as far as this. Yeah, first up over here we have Kirby's Return to Dreamland, which is getting a Switch port in about a couple of months. That does add a new ability to itself, and it's good they're doing that because this game costs quite a bit of money actually on the Wii. It's like $60, $70, $80. And it is a really good one as far as how it operates, especially for its cooperative play and its great stuff. And a game that was in development actually for about, oh god, it was almost like 6-7 years, because it started on the GameCube, interestingly enough, as a Kirby game that kind of got tossed away initially. And at first the thought was, I remember when Kirby's Epic Yarn came out, it was something that when Reggie Fils-Aimé was up on stage to that, he basically mentioned the fact that, yeah, they're working this on the GameCube. Were they gonna, you know, I think he said, quote, we decided we had to make a choice on this pretty much. We're gonna take what we have, we're gonna spin a new yarn. And when he said that, I think I was actually fooled by that, thinking that by that he meant, oh, they took the remnants of what this game was gonna be and made Epic Yarn into it. But Epic Yarn was its own deal, I think, as far as another project that transformed into Kirby for that. But yeah, this is the other game, the one they were making. It's a really good one, and hey, it is on Switch in a little bit, so there's that. And it's definitely one we can run. One thing to quickly mention on Wii U, or Wii stuff for Wii U, I basically got to pretty much launch all this stuff directly, because there's something weird with the feed cuts, how it handles taking the HDMI signal and transferring that to the Wii emulation. So it might be one of those things that whenever we do game from in here, and I can think of a couple we'd want to do, I basically have to start in the game for that. The same we'll do with PlayStation 3 with some of the stuff for that, but yeah, just to give a quick indication of that. Yeah, as I said, I just want to make sure to add this because I forgot to mention the Wii stuff. Because, yeah, there's some good stuff I got on Wii, including Metro Prime Trilogy. They dropped this for $10 the week it came out, and then they put it to $20, where it costs a lot on the Wii itself, which is the new play control versions of Metro Prime 1 and 2, and a revamp of Metro Prime 3, with a couple differences over the Wii game, very minor to some degree, but purists of this franchise are kind of in on those changes. But yeah, that is our Metro Prime element. We have to do Metro Prime at some point. These games are awesome. And this was such a great collection. And I think I speak to the Crusade Nerd 64 in particular, as far as other people saying, like, yeah, is this going to come out on the Switch? Well, it's also a question of whether Metro Prime 4 is going to come on the Switch. I don't think it is. I think it comes out on the next console. And maybe Metro Prime Trilogy for that, because yeah, these are awesome games by Retro Studios out of Texas. Amongst the first games they ever did. I think people were saying, why are you turning Metro Prime as far as this into first-person shooting for this franchise? People played it, they realized, man, we were so wrong, and we're glad to be wrong, because these are amongst some of the best games in this franchise, and that's saying quite a bit. And this is how I have them. We can definitely show them that way. Next up is Pandora's Tower. This was developed by Hironobu Sakaguchi, or he was involved in this somehow. It is an expensive Wii game now, about almost $100. It was part of the Operation Rainfall project that also got us Xenoblade Chronicles in the US, as well as The Last Story. I don't think The Last Story's gotten re-released much, if at all. This was put on here, given how much it costs. All the Wii stuff, by the way, is $20, unless it's on sale, and there's some stuff on sale I will indicate. But yeah, for the purpose of that, like, yeah, I haven't actually played this game yet, but I said, hey, for that price, I better pick this up before they get rid of it. And also, that's the reason I picked up, one game I have played, Pikmin. The Wii version, so it is the new Play Control edition, which I heard controls pretty well, considering it's not Mario Power Tennis from Wii, where the controls are horrible, or Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, where the controls kind of beat the purpose. Although the way we play Donkey Kong Jungle Beat on the GameCube, I can't necessarily be just running the bongos the whole damn game, but I'll figure something of that. But yeah, Pikmin on GameCube was an early release on that. A great strategy game that definitely has a lot of unique things and is very easily approachable. It also has a lot of depth and strategy that brings in a crowd of people who would usually love games like that. I know Gemini 96 is a huge one on both these Pikmin games. Yeah, because I have the second one. It goes for a lot of money, and the re-release of that is probably not going to happen anytime soon because of the product placement in it with 7-Up and Duracell. So yeah, in that case, this is the cheapest way. It is the cheapest way to get for downloading on this while you still can. Remember, you got 3 months. So if you're liking what you're seeing and you have your accounts linked right, as I indicated before, yeah, you can get these, and they are cool. We used to Pikmin 1. I haven't played 2 yet, but it's like, yeah, for the purpose of having Pikmin 2, so then we can run the whole franchise, and 4 when that comes out next year. That's the idea, and I think Gemini 96, these are going to be all his, pretty much, because he adores this franchise. Next, we're talking light gun shooting, which is also what has spurred the idea of me remembering, oh shit, I didn't show the Wii stuff off. The Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles, which is a light gun shooting case. an actual real one, as opposed to how Resident Evil Survivor came out without its gun support, or Resident Evil Dead Aim, which is on PS2. Yeah, this is full light gun case of Resident Evil, kind of going the House of the Dead route. And this was on sale. This was, I think, $5. So at that point, I said, yeah, I think I should grab this for sure. And also next, Trauma Team. I've always wanted to show the Trauma Center games. Unfortunately, they're all on the DS, except for the remake of the first one, which is on the Wii, which is Second Opinion. I have Trauma Center 1 and 2 on DS, and I downloaded Trauma Team, which I hear is the best one. It's another case that I've not gotten time to play this, unfortunately, but because of the fact that people said it's awesome, and it costs a bit of money otherwise, it was an easy pick for me to download this. And then the Wii channel, which means if you put a Wii disc in, you can run your Wii stuff, or you can transfer over from Wii to Wii U, but with the exception of maybe Rodea the Sky Soldier, I don't know if I'm going to do that, unless there's a, feed cut case that's going on for that. Because yeah, there's stories on Rodea the Sky Soldier specific, because it was a game they released on Wii U here that had the Wii version in the box, but the Wii U version was a remake of the Wii game that was a remake of the 3DS game. That'll be interesting when we get to that at some point. And then lastly, Zack and Wiki, The Quest for Barbarossa's Treasure, which is from Capcom. So yeah, another Capcom joint before we get to the play of Final Fight 3 that you're about to watch. Kind of a bit of a point-and-click game, kind of in the style of something like, as I mentioned at the end of the show, the Freddy Fish games of Humongous Entertainment, which we'll do at some point next year with Nikki. I've heard this game is great. I've been personally recommending this multiple times, and it was like a Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, and then it was on sale. So I said, yeah, $5, I'm taking this. Not this expensive one, but yeah, for that price, yeah, definitely a good case of that. So there you go. There is your Wii representation. I am sorry I forgot about it. I think I covered every system in here. I just want to make sure of that. Yeah, I did. Enjoy the rest of the video, everybody. Let's get to the game after an hour. Okay, so that'll make the edit of this easy, at least. Alright, thank you for putting up with that, and hope you're liking what you saw, and feel free to indicate anything of those things you want to see. Let's get to the game in hand. Alright. Alright, this is Final Fight 3. I was going to say 2, it's not 2. I was going to change my game audio. It went down automatically. Oh shit, I don't want it that loud, that's too loud. I need to put it at 34. Just a second. There we go. Okay. Final Fight 3. Came out in 1995 in Japan and early 1996 for the US on Super Nintendo as the last of the 16-bit elements of Final Fight. So yeah, we are back in Metro City. We saw that last two times when we had gangs coming back. Last time was the Mad Gear gang that caused trouble. This time, the Skullcross gang is here. And of course, Mike Hagar is mayor of the town. He keeps running into this stuff and talking about fighting for constituents. Because yeah, whenever he gets into trouble like this or sees something going on, he makes the phone calls he needs to make. He takes the shirt off. He goes out there and starts fighting. And hey, look who's back. Guy, remember him? Yeah, he was in the first game. He was off training in Final Fight 2 that we saw, and they do give lip service to that specifically. I think I learned a few new moves. They did, and there's gonna be some flashing lights, by the way, in this game that are not totally toned down. I'm not gonna lie to you on this one. But we have a new face in town. This is Lucy Morgan. She's the head of the Special Crimes Unit, and the city's under attack, as we saw with that explosion. Yeah, so a riot's broken out. So Skullcross gang is causing trouble for sure, and yeah, with the stuff burning the police station on fire, we don't move quick. Metro City's gonna be ripped apart. So as usual, what do? We go out to the street, we beat him up, because this is a beat him up. All right, need your help, Guy. Of course, like, yeah, no problem. They go back years for sure. But Mr. Mayor, I can lead you to them. Yeah, who are you? Yeah, does it really matter? Well, his name technically is Dean. We'll understand that later. He'll actually explain it. But he's like, all I know is that I know where they're headed. So, yeah, I haven't got a choice. I have to trust you, which does not sound at all sketchy. Yeah, but if you're leading me to a trap, yeah, I'm gonna grind you into the pavement. So yeah, it's like, fair enough. I mean, the trust was verified idea with Mike Hagar. I was like, yeah, shirt's off. Like, he wears the suit and tie nicely. He was like, yeah, I'm ready to go to the streets, get my hands dirty. And there comes Guy and Lucia and Dean. You'll see who Dean is, like what's going on, because yeah, he's the silent dude. And one thing I will sort of... oh wait, we still have the cutscenes going. This is not super long as far as it... yeah, there is your Final Fight 3. Yeah, seems like one of the most divisive of the early Final Fight games, and one that, as ElecVerse was indicating, is not one that tends to be played much. And honestly, I didn't play this ElecVerse until you asked to see this franchise. I said, let's get the other ones, and I'm glad that you did, so thank you for that, for sure. as I let the demo go, because there's two, two profile things. I know it shows all of them specific, and just seeing what's going on for it as, guy, why are you running into the barrel? I do have something of elements for that as well. Actually, fitting also, this is like the Console Wars thing. The Console Wars episode of Final Fight 3 vs. Streets of Rage 3 is here. Fitting, because remember, ElecVerse, on your inspiration and request this way, we've been bouncing back between Final Fight and Streets of Rage. So yeah, Capcom's franchise, we're back to, again, for this one. And next time we go back to Sega's Streets of Rage case is going to be with the third game. Medic's going to be involved with that one. Yeah, the back and forth between those two. Made for interesting stuff for the Console Wars program, as we have, the return of Guy. He loves ninjutsu. He loves boiled rice soaked in tea and cold tofu. Yeah, so after the martial arts training he did last time, he's back here, but yeah, it's riot time. And I also didn't start to that, because when I go back to this, it'll go to the demo once more. Show the other profile thing, because I don't think it shows the profiles of all the characters, weirdly enough. I don't know why. Because in the last game, it showed the profiles of all the characters we had, of which there were 3, so there's 4 this time. And also go into stuff with the options, because you're also seeing the 2 players there. Because you play this in 2-player, like with Final Fight 2, and like with the arcade version of Final Fight 1. But also this version has something unique, or this game has something unique, in that it's auto 2-player, where you have a computer-controlled player going on. I'm going to show that later, because it actually does make the frame rate tank. So we'll show that a little later, and we'll go into other stuff as far as, there's Lucia. She has some wrestling moves, because I believe the background with her, of what I've understood, she met Mike Hagar on the wrestling circuit for the Slam Masters games, which I didn't know there were 3 of those. I thought there was only that Saturday Night Slam Masters game. But yeah, she barely met him there. She's a DEA agent, basically, and she likes cooking, but she's not good at it. So she loves instant noodles, I guess. Yeah, she's a special crimes unit detective, but she's indebted to Hagar because Hagar cleared her of a corruption charge that was phony, specifically. That's the background of this. And she's also in Street Fighter V, interestingly enough, just to go into that. I think that's the last of the 2 intros, so at that point, let's go to this. Let's do options, just get stuff ready. Because you run this game on easy, normal, hard, and expert. I think you do need to beat this game on expert to see the best ending, sort of. But there's other things that determine the ending, and it's honestly, from what I've seen, I don't think it's really that much as far as it really determines it. Actually, because one thing about this game that's interesting is it has branching paths, sort of, which I did not know, actually, until I was looking into it for this test. So you can run this as easy, normal, hard, or expert. I'm running normal. Actually, one thing I will say, we talked about difficulty on the show. Dolphin, I think you've mentioned this. Sometimes we mention, actually, Nocturne also brought this up, the idea, like, I've never been good at beat-em-ups. Honestly, this is a pretty easy one. Maybe, some people said too easy, and this was kind of a middlingly reviewed game when it came out. I think for that, and also for some of its technical things. But if you've never played a lot of beat-em-ups before, this might actually be a good one to get your feet wet with. Actually, ironically, the hardest part of this game is going to be finding a copy after 3 months because of the fact that it's going to be $200, maybe more, depending where you look. All right, you have partner level, which you can set to weak, normal, and strong. That's where you do the auto 2-player CPU thing, which I'll show later. You have your customizable controls of attack, jump. Extra joy is the same as it was in the last game, which is press that, that's your special attack, and when you hit an enemy with it, you take damage for it. Hold direction, because it also is running on your positioning a lot more, and it's also running on special moves aside from your extra joy this time. Kind of like Street Fighter, so they were really paying attention to the fact that, okay, Street Fighter is something to this, and we were very successful with that as far as Capcom's concerned. And beat-em-ups tend to be, beating up, like, how varied can you really get? So they said, let's put in Street Fighter button combinations for special moves on top of the ones you have here. And also, hit configuration, that basically is friendly damage when you're playing 2-player or the auto 2-player. Turn that off. My suggestion. And you're also doing Stereo and Monero, because, of course, Capcom always called it Monero, so I know what it stands for, what Mono stands for. All right, 1 player, let's run this. I'll show all the characters as we go along, but we have Guy, we have Dean, we'll know who he is later. Lucy and Hagar, or Mike Hagar as it is. Let's start with Lucia. Alright, so we're back in the streets at round 1. And you're also seeing maybe an element of why this is a teen-rated game, with your heaving bosom specific as far as that. Alright, let's get going. Same deal as before, just walk around, beat enemies up. Pretty simple as far as that. Walk into him, throw him, and we walk in, you hit up on D-pad, you can kind of just do a punch into him when you hit Y button. You can turn him around, that's what I'm doing, hitting down and that, and you can switch him over that way. Do that and just, try to do that. Flip him over. Do that. Suplex him, which can hurt pretty badly. which is nice. So they do give you a little bit of variety as far as that, and then jumps. You do have dash, and you hit double tapping of left or right on D-pad, you can run, and then you can do a running combo by hitting Y button when you get close, or after you're at the end of the run, do that. You can actually use that to kind of get through some enemies quickly, but the other thing you can do, you press in, put in button combinations. So, if you remember the Shoryuken movement for Street Fighter 2, it's forward, down, and the diagonal forward. You do that, and hit the Y button. Try to. I'll show that super thing just saying, yeah, you do that. It's the rising knee. Each character does have their own moves. I will show off what they are. You also get a super move. I'm going to give you a warning. There's going to be flashing light. Even though they sort of kind of toned down for this version, you're still going to see it when I do that. You have to do a specific button combination with the character within a certain state. For Lucy, what you do is you hit down, down, forward, or back, and you hit the Y button. You have to hit Y button as you hit forward or back. So I'll show that. Oh, right. If you take too long and don't use it, it goes away. So you have to keep beating up enemies to get the bar up again. The bar will not drop on its own, but when it runs the super and you don't have anything for it, yeah, you're going to be done. Or you're not going to be able to use it, I should say. Which is a weird decision, I will say that for sure. As we're going into, I guess, an area of the prison. You're going to see one thing as we go along here. Whoop. Yeah, throw them. Yeah, you can bust the environments down. There actually are areas that are based around doing that to go down different paths, and they can affect the ending. I did not know that, actually. Okay, there you go. That's that. Sometimes you'll do that by accident, which I've run into. Alright, I'll try and do the move for her while I'm not getting hit by the not Wolverines. Hit down, down, forward. Flashing white, by the way, when I do this, or when I do it right. There you go. You do the kick combo. The thing is, you were stuck in where you are when you do that. So if there's not an enemy around, you can totally whiff. But you are invincible during that. So that is one benefit. And when you do use the super move, the bar goes down, and then you just have to use your other moves again to run it. Also, she has another move. I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually run it effectively. You jump, you hit the down, forward, or down, down, forward, forward. Basically, the quarter circle forward, hit the Y button. You do that fire kick. Honestly, there are not a whole lot of enemies in the air, so it's not going to be really that much of use. Honestly, you'll be using that rising knee a lot, which is basically that Shoryuken movement. Yeah, if you're good at that Shoryuken movement, which I am not at all, not least of which when I'm doing it on a 3D plane like this, or a plane like that, we have to be in position specifically. Yeah, maybe that's not going to be a good time for you. Also, I'm missing specifically. Alright, fine. I'll tell you, honestly, I went through the practice of this not really even doing that. I was like, fine, let's just run, boom, 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 just hit everything. Because that's the beauty of a game like this. Like, hey, when you're doing this, just keep hitting everything. And I'll keep going. But yeah, she'll definitely go through the side. And as is always the case, you have the go bar going on. It's like, beep, beep, alright, get going. And also, you have time limit. It probably won't run out unless you try. Go around and pick up weapons. Yeah, you have the pipe. So yeah, it's not just Streets of Rage that's doing the pipe thing. It does hurt enemies pretty badly. Yeah, they can knock it off. And it does run on Streets of Rage logic in that when it drops 3 times, it's gone. Or if it's a case where you can't go on screen again, yeah, it's gone too. Basically just keep beating everybody up, and when you get going along, you get more points. I believe it's 100,000 points you get a life, but then I think it stops it. You know, it's 200,000 points, and I think it stops then, I think. Alright, I want to try and kill these guys quickly so I can hold my super for the boss. We're coming up to him pretty quickly. But also the enemies will go into like a bit of a stun state there. So this make things a little more unique in that, hey, you gotta be quick. Right, come on, get out of the way. Oh shit, unfortunately I ran out on the bar. Yeah, because here is the boss. This is Dave. He is a former police officer. He said, like, fine, I'm encased with the Skullcross gang. He's like, yeah, I guess they pay better, so yeah, I'm defecting. Hey, be careful. Yeah, he does the billy clubs, so be careful of that. And also, when you hit him on the ground, he'll do the jump up. He'll usually track you, and when he hits the ground, also him jump back up will hurt you as well, so be careful of that. Whoa. Ow, and yeah, she's done. Yeah, she used those legs, huh? Yeah, no question. I think that's the idea, and I don't know, ElecVerse, you played Street Fighter 5? Because she's in that. I don't, because it's only on PlayStation 3, or PlayStation 4, I should say. So I've not played that one. Maybe she has that movement to her, the idea of, as I said, she's also, I guess, background wrestler. Alright, let's try and hit him, come on. Down, that forward. There you go. Okay, fine. In some cases you can whiff it, alright, fine, unless he runs in, and yeah, she has the fire kick. So that's the other thing. She can kick, but she also has fire properties, and as we're going to see with Dean, he's going to tell us who he is when we beat him. He has electricity, actually kind of like Blanca a little bit. So yeah, definitely some elements. I've not played Street Fighter 5. Yeah, I don't know as far as because she's in that one, or she's in the Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition specific. Oh. Okay, good. Yeah, I got lucky as far as getting into a throw case, but honestly... Oh, yeah, and he'll track you, so you gotta be careful. Alright, I already got a life, though. I just noticed that. There, he's done. Boom. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Street Fighter. Yeah, I remember we went over that when we were doing, what is it? we're doing the fighting showcase, because, like, yeah, it can be too complicated in some ways, and actually, in a lot of ways, in that way, I don't know if you'd like this one either, to be honest, only because, like, hey, it's running on those combinations so much. But that being said, it does add a little more variety, which, I guess, usually that's always a question when it comes to beat-em-ups. The idea is there going to be enough depth to understand as far as that with the button combinations? And the answer usually is, in a lot of cases, yes, actually, Streets of Rage is going to do this. We're going to see that with the third game. Alright, who's the Dean guy? I told you who he is. He's like, yeah, sorry about before not telling him a name. There wasn't time to do it, or time to explain. But now there is, because we took everybody down in this level. Yeah, I used to be another fighter on the Street Fighting circuit, or Street Fighter circuit, yet he's not in any of the Street Fighter games, weirdly enough. He was going to be recruited by the Skullcross gang. They then killed my family. Yes, that's one way to get your attention. Like, yeah, you don't join me, we're gonna John Wick you, and your family's gone. And now I was like, yeah, I've got revenge on my mind, so yeah, we're gonna make them pay. And we're willing to help them, no question about that. Yeah, it's also weird, because they said that. I said, oh wait, he's in Street Fighter. There's a Street Fighter game he's in. Because actually, there are crossovers with the Street Fighter games and this, and that Poison from the first one is in Street Fighter 4. And Hagar is in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, specifically, as I threw the hammer away. And Lucy's in Street Fighter 5, but with Dean, he's not. In fact, actually, with Dean, interesting thing I found out, I was like, okay, who is this guy? Have we seen him in other things? He was actually going to be in the Final Fight game they're going to make before Final Fight Streetwise. Or actually, it was after Final Fight Revenge came out, which is a fighting game on the Sega Saturn, by the way. Well, he was in the Street Fighter Unlimited manga. There's this game, Final Fight 7 Sons. It was going to be in the style of this, actually, as far as the 16-bit look. Like of this and Final Fight 2, and I guess the first one as well. They decided not to go forward with it. I think Capcom's like, yeah, they weren't liking the idea of what the pitch was, I think. And I guess maybe they're regretting that because then Final Fight Streetwise came out, and they went totally dark, kind of inspired by Fight Club, and in mature rated territory. It looks really grungy. They're saying fuck literally the word. And you have bonus games, you're crushing roaches in a restaurant. Like, yeah, call the health inspector and get them shut down, my friend. But no, you're doing it in that one, and it actually technically is the last game of the franchise, I think, unless there's been one since that's not been a re-release of the old ones. Because I think most have been re-releases of Final Fight 1, whether it's on that Double Impact collection we played, whether it's the Capcom Beam-Up bundle, or the fact that I believe, I don't know if this is still going on, they were giving the first one away free on PC a while ago, actually like about a week or so, as it is. So it was interesting to see that, and the idea of like, wait, what's going on as far as beat-em-ups? It might be one of those things almost, because remember, Streets of Rage 4 came out last year, or 2 years ago, I should say. It was awesome. Maybe the thought of Capcom saying that, hey, we can come back to this, or maybe the other thing, you mentioned this ElecVerse last week, the idea that Devil May Cry, because I guess you're a fan of those games specific, in some ways when you really think about it, maybe a game like Devil May Cry is a little bit of a logical extension, sorta, to something like this, in the sense that you're doing a lot of rapid button combinations and beats of people going, yeah, you're literally just kicking his ass. I love that animation. That just looks cool. And it adds a little bit of variety to it. And by the way, when I do get game overs as far as characters, I will show the other ones, because it's worth showing them and their unique moves. But, oh shit, I was running into Fat Jack. Yeah, you want to be careful of him. He's like the bongos in Streets of Rage. You do that, huh! And if he does that, he's going to run towards you. I don't think you can avoid that unless you dive out of the way or you do your special move, your super move. Yeah, basically what you want to do is try and run off screen, just do the elbow into him, and then just hit that Y button as quickly as you can. Yeah, it goes like, huh! Oh shit! Yeah, I got knocked down by the other one. But yeah, here's the AVGN's review of Streetwise. Yeah, I never played that one. Have you? I hear it's horrible. And at some point we'll have to reckon with that, I guess. I mean, we're doing Mighty Final Fight next, which is definitely a good game. I can definitely vouch for that one. No question. As it, Final Fight Revenge is a fighting game, weirdly enough. And it was the last game to come on the Saturn, in Japan only. And yet, it still costs a fortune. Yeah, if you can do that, if you get to that point when he says that, or before he or Arby says that, which is the name of him. Yeah, I'm thinking Arby is dead. In that case, yeah, if you can do that or get him out of the way, you can survive. Or you can avoid getting armed by them. Or just walk out of the way. Because usually when it comes to something like this, that's usually what it is. Or in this case, fine, I'm hitting Y button. They're in this direction. I mean, look, I can't always be in a good case where that's going to be something I can just do that. And, yeah, oh, there we go. Yeah, it's hard to do that move of hers. Actually, a lot of the other characters, specifically Guy and Hagar, They have them on grabs specific. Also, you do the run and you do the jump like that. That jump kick is actually very useful because it has a great range specific to itself. Yeah, and yeah, you're right. Good indication there, like first the fact that Lucy's all about the legs, fitting that way. Well, actually, to go back to that thing with the teen rating on this game, I'll get the dumplings because give me some health. I don't know if that was the reason why this got a teen rating. I believe it was probably because of its violence, I think. At least I think it was. And also is the only the only Final Fight game at the time that had an ESRB rating of any kind. Because like right after it got established. All right, fine. In that case, I whiffed it because they didn't come into range. But also the other thing about this is that even the dash that Mad Jack or Fat Jack. I'm trying to remember, Mad Jack was something else. I think in Donkey Kong 64 or something else. Or was it fighting Call Man? Actually, yeah, I think I might have missed one of the branching paths. I think you go up one path, you don't go to the park. So actually, what I'll do is I might actually start this game again when I'm done. Oh, I get kicked in the face by the Call Man, and then May, who's the girl with the knives, she's coming my way. Yeah, but if I throw them away, that's good. Also, you do have a double back move. You double tap the D-pad backwards, where you're either holding L or R, like you're running in one direction, jump back the other way. You can do a dodge that way. And actually, holding the L or R button lets you focus direction. So like, hey, if you have enemies one way, hold that button, you're just basically just facing them the whole way, and you can move freely that way. So yeah, there you go, the moonwalking case for that. Because yeah, you know, Capcom loves them their music references as far as that. Although I don't think they really have many in this one the way they did in the last two Final Fight games. Yeah, in some ways, yeah, with Callman you can sort of do this, but in some cases, yeah, if he gets out of the way of that, that can be a problem. Or he just do the jump over. So yeah, he can be in a case of that too. So it looks like maybe something that you think like, oh, you can exploit, maybe a little, but not entirely. Ooh. Yeah, trying to do the Shoryuken. Or, fine, it's not the Shoryuken, it's something else, it's just that movement. That's a hard movement to do. It's like, I'll give you this, ElecVerse, as far as Street Fighters. Like, God, those movements are hard to do, and I'm not good at doing that one specifically. Some of the other ones I'm fine with, although weirdly enough, with the Wii U Pro Control I'm using for this one, it's kind of a weird one to do the movement, I will say that, as far as, like, the rotations. Not that it's a bad D-pad, it's a good D-pad. It's just with this one, I don't know, maybe because it's within the context of a beat-em-up. Alright, we're going here. Okay, let me explain something. Because I didn't actually indicate this. Yeah, when you're at this point, I'm looking for the bus stop. I think this might be it. You throw the enemies, you can throw them next to them, they throw the glass, bust the glass. I'm looking for where the bus stop is. If I find that and break it, I can go to a different path. If I don't break it, I'm taking the bus and going another way. In fact, for the purpose of this... Don't worry, that was normal. I hit the R button. That brings up the virtual console menu. You can do a restore point. I'm putting one down right now. Yeah, I'll keep a pin in that for later. You can only do one restore point, by the way, on the system. So it's not like Switch Online, you run 4 of them, specific. But the reason I'm doing that is because this area has a hidden path. And actually, you do have to take one of the hidden paths to get the good ending. Although, as I said, technically the good ending is locked behind the hard difficulty. Alright, boom, there you go. Because here's the thing, I'll also say this. When I was doing the test play, I didn't actually... Actually, no, I did break the bus stop. You break the bus stop, you go to one level, or this level's insanely short. I was like, wait, this level's really short, why is that? And I looked into it and I said, oh, wait a minute, you can go down a path. Alright, so I'll be a little more careful also before I bust the windows. But basically, to do that, you basically just grab enemies when you're close. Okay, so... Alright, here's the bus stop. I'm not gonna bust the bus stop. That's that thing. If I bust that, we're gonna go a different path. The level actually finishes really quickly. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna stay away from it. I didn't do that in my test play. I don't think it made much of a difference as far as the way my ending went. I still sorta got the best ending. There's one boss that if you skip it, you don't get it. It's not this one. I'll indicate that as we go along. So, if nothing else, I'll tell you one thing about this one. I give it a little bit of respect for... Maybe more than it got back in the day, or tends to get, I guess, from fans, is that they definitely tried a lot of unique things to get this to, yeah, I was like, okay, in that case, that was good that way, because I'm invincible. So, like, alright, fine, I'm trading off my ability to hit things for being invincible, as far as Lucy's concerned, anyway. Just try and hit them as they go along. Boom, boom. Yeah. Okay, so if I busted that, the level would end. because I didn't, we're taking a ride. In fact, I don't think I saw this actually when I was doing my test at all. It's like, I think I just was like, oh, so into the experience of breaking things. Like, yeah, we're taking a bus ride. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've had the elements of buses in gaming a few weeks ago when we were talking about Shadow Hearts with Crazy Bus and Desert Bus and I guess other games with buses like Bus Simulator and things like that. For sure. But yeah, we have a game with bus in it, and like we're taking a ride. This is a big one in the sense that, you know, we have a lot of room to do this. Or it's like the subway in the first game. Yeah, the first game we rode the subway, and that went fine as far as beating up the enemies there and seeing Poison, who by the way is not in the Super Nintendo version of the original. And I also don't think she's in... Well, actually, there's one other... I'll tell you, we were saying as far as the Final Fight games, there is one other one on the Super Nintendo that I don't think I'll be able to show because of its cost prohibitiveness, and also because it hasn't been re-released. I'm not sure you're familiar with this one. It's called Final Fight Guy. And what it is a remake of Final Fight from Super Nintendo, because the Super Nintendo Final Fight game, Guy, who's in this game, is not in that, for some reason. And it doesn't have two-player. So what happened was that they released a new version that had a minute. And for the US, down forward, I just want to get that set. For the US, they only released it as a rental game in Blockbuster. To the point where I think they even had like the box that looked like the Super Famicom look of it the same. Although they did have like a Super Nintendo graphic of the cartridge and all the stuff that's inserted into it. And most of that was basically sold off the same way something like Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut on Nintendo 64, or Eggs of Steel on the PlayStation or something like that, or Beast Wars Transmetals on Nintendo 64 as well, as far as rental-only games were sold. It was like, hey, they were getting rid of their stock, they got rid of them, people got it, and now it costs a fortune. That game is like almost $500, that Final Fight Guy. It basically is Final Fight 1 already, so in that case, we showed it on the arcade, we showed the really good version, although I guess the other thing I could show, if you ever want to see this, is the Sega CD version of Final Fight, which is in the Sega Genesis Mini 2. It's pretty good port, pretty direct, honestly, of the original arcade game, and has some really interesting stuff with the CD sound of it. It's one that costs not massive, but a decent amount on Sega CD, but that unit has it, and it's something that I think I could rationally show on that, either on its own or with something else, just because it's a really good port, honestly. And it's one that for years I'd heard it was awesome. But yeah, we didn't have a way to play it, or I didn't for a while. Right, fine, we're making our stop at K-Town, I guess. Okay, so yeah, we rode the bus to the end of the line. I found a hot dog in a crate, or in a barrel, and glasses. It's like, yeah, I need glasses. I guess she can't see. It's like, maybe she has contacts, she doesn't want to run the contacts anymore. But either way, yeah, we're at the old junkyard. Whoa. Yeah, alright, I'm trying to beat them, actually. Yeah, every time I see that super, I kind of always want to do that attack, although sometimes it gets hard to do that. And yeah, any flashing light warnings, I said, look, I'll just basically put at the beginning of the video, because every time you see that super bar showing, I'm going to run an attack that's going to show that. I'm sorry. Alrighty. Now, stop it. Yeah, they can sometimes get me into a stuck case, unfortunately. But yeah, I can still at least get the stop on them. Alright. No! Yeah, fortunately they ran out that way. It's like, yeah, that's not cool. Also, like the other Final Fight games, just to go into this, I guess because I'm trying to think about elements I haven't discussed with it yet. Like the other ones, you do have usually only 3 enemies on screen at once, which you think, wait a second, that's going to make it too easy. I mean, as I said, this is not a super hard game when you're running on its normal difficulty anyway, but this game does a good job of balancing it out because even though, yeah, there are only 3 enemies on screen at once, usually when you kill one enemy, another will appear. So at that point, I have another RB. You are running a lot of the same characters as it is, but then Streets of Rage does that too, so I can't really say that, oh, this is a horrible case of it. And usually at that point, it's basically the challenge is becoming the idea of trying to manage it around when it comes to, I guess, dealing with the enemies when they come, especially when we're like 3 Arby's at you at once. Yeah, and be very careful about that. Which sounds weird out of context. You're like, wait, I'm talking about the restaurant. Like, no, I'm not. Oh, fine. Maybe that's a reference to that. Maybe that was what Capcom was indicating. Yeah, see, because as soon as he died, another one came from behind. So at that point, yeah, kick him off the screen. Alright, so let's see. Actually, okay, that's good. I'm at the bottom of the screen, so hopefully they can run my feet. Or I miss, but as I said, the fact that I'm invincible when I do that makes me happy that way, and it makes it safe. We have Andore, which I guess is the reference... No, it is the reference to Andre the Giant, who's in every one of these games. He's in Final Fight 1 and 2 and in 3 as well. Because, hey, it wouldn't be a case of that without him. And I'll get him punched in the back. And also, unlike Streets of Rage, one other thing I guess I don't think Final Fight 2 or 1 did this. Maybe they did. When you beat an enemy, or when you die, I should say, the enemies don't fall down. And hey, talk about jump she has. Wow. Alright, so we're at the top of bus 21. Alright, here's a boss, Kane. Actually, I never fought this boss. I'm not gonna lie. Oh shit, I'm getting myself hit with a wrench. Oh, and he's still hitting me from a distance. Alright, yeah, you gotta die, my friend. Alright, and usually the element of the bosses, any of them really, is if you can get to a point where you can punch him or use your super on him, that's fine, unless he's gonna do that. Come on. And that forward. There we go. Yeah, walk on my feet. Okay, at least I'm safe from the what was it? From the wrench. Damn, he has reach with that thing. Ow. I would say nobody knew a wrench was such a deadly weapon. It's like, I think we've played stuff that have wrench to do that. Like, yeah, you don't want to get hit with one of those things. You're probably not going to live, depending on where you get hit with it. Alright, yeah, I'm definitely making it harder on myself, I guess, going this way, but... Here's the other thing about this game. You start with 6 lives, and you have 5 continues. So, honestly, even if I get a game over, yeah, it should be fine. And they do put you back at the level you were at, or at the section you were at. So, yeah, Kane is hitting me in the face like this, and damn, he's hard. Okay, this is the one part of the game I guess I didn't practice, and I guess it's showing. Ow, stop it! I don't think you use your extra joy to get out of that. Hey, come on. Walking my feet. And he has multiple health bars, so yeah, this is gonna be close. Oh, shit! Alright, I'm dead. Alright, so that's game over. And as always with Streets of... Or, I keep saying Streets of Rage, it's Final Fight. We're doing that. Yeah, if you don't hit start time, yeah, she's gonna get crushed to death. And you can select your player. We'll keep running with her. But if I get game overs other times, I will run them. By the way, if you do die and get game over, it's not gonna affect your ending from what I understand. Shit, he's insane. I was like, alright, fine. Okay, so I said this is the easiest of the Final Fight games, and it is. But still, I was like, fine, you can avoid this battle altogether. And I guess maybe it was easier because I did avoid it. It's like, wait, I don't have to fight him. I didn't know I didn't have to fight him. I thought, like, wait, did I just go a different way? Okay, fine. For the purpose of showing the completeness of this, I'm glad I showed it. Yeah, I'm trying to do the Shoryuken move again. Ugh. Okay, I guess the other thing is that because there are enemies popping out, just toss them out. I just hope he walks in, because yeah, that is your most damaging move. That's super special move, or the super special move they call it. That is your most damaging attack, so if you can do that, you're good. Also, I can't necessarily even do the run forward and the hit thing, because he'll either grab me, hit me with the wrench, or he'll just recover too quickly. Some enemies you've seen this, yeah, like him over there, he'll have a little bit of stumble when he gets hit, that he won't come back right away. Ouch. Ow. Yeah, I guess we found my mortal nemesis this game, Wrenches. Yeah, he doesn't have a, he comes up right away. Yeah, if I get too close, he just hits me. Ah, okay, fine. He can knock me out of the knee kick thing. Okay, fine. I avoided that way. One more hit. Alright, that felt good. Alright. Yeah, he's weak in the knees, and now he's dead. Thank God. Alright, Jesus, that was insane. I think because I wasn't ready for it. And I guess I'll go to this. It's like, I say I'll practice game as much as I can, for sure, for that. And I do. It's just that, for something like this, there's branching paths, and maybe I didn't practice that part of it specific. I mean, I know we got that with Contra Hardcore. I've been practicing that one still for it. Starting with the Japanese version, and now more with the US version. That has branching paths, and actually, I think for the purpose of that, I probably will run the Switch Online expansion pack for that one, as far as how we're going to play it, because then at that point I can save state the other paths. Whoa! Okay, that was lucky. Alright, come on. Okay, good. Yeah, that's what you want to have them happen. You want them to walk in your feet when you're doing that attack, but it's not always easy. That's kind of the weird thing about it. I mean, as I said, in fact, let's get into this. Let's chat. You have anything else specific that you're thinking? We're seeing Joe. They're very tiny. They look a little bit like Blanca a bit. Fitting, I guess, for Capcom that way. Yeah, they move fast and they can grab you, and it can be a weird case of it. But let's go into this. The idea that, I guess, of the Final Fight games, not counting Streetwise, it seems like this is the one that tends to be not liked. It seems like it's the one that's weird. Also, you have Fritz. They are very low in health. They will drop those bombs there, and they will hurt you if you hit the fire. They'll usually just go away after that. So in that case, you either just avoid them or punch them, and they'll be gone pretty quickly. Actually, speaking of that, it almost reminds me of Franz Liebken from the producers a little bit. So I think I mentioned we play Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, to go into the idea of the reception of this game, because I get the sense that I'm trying to remember, like, as far as the console wars show that you linked to with Final Fight 3 and Streets of Rage 3, which I don't remember. Okay, I think I might remember how that ended up, but I don't know necessarily if they said, like, hey, they had problems of how Streets of Rage, Final Fight 3 was. I guess maybe like Streets of Rage 3, it's that third one seems to be one that seems like it's not liked, although I guess with Streets of Rage 3, it seems like it's been more liked in the years that have passed, whereas this one, not as much, and also this one has not gotten re-released a whole lot. So maybe that's something to do with it, too. I guess what I'm thinking is that I like this game, the kind of thing it is. I don't know if I'd say it's as good as the other two, but I do have a lot of respect for this, I think, for the chances it was taking, and how it's trying to really vary up the formula. I guess the thought was like, beat-em-ups were everywhere in the 90s, as has been mentioned. Rodorova mentioned this last week when we were talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff, which was, yeah, they're all over the place, so how they differentiate themselves, and Capcom's idea was, hey, let's mix Street Fighter with this, because, hey, this was gonna be Street Fighter. Final Fight was gonna be a spin-off of Street Fighter, and technically it still is a spin-off of it, just under a different name. So at that point, what do? They say, fine, let's make it more with its combos. As we're going up the top of the building, which does look really nice. Oh, that's nice, too, as far as the, I guess the Kabuki show, I guess, advertisement for whiskey? I guess that's what it is. Or just think of the movie Lost in Translation from Sofia Coppola. Which I think I mentioned that on the show before at some point, too, with Bill Murray in it. Like, he goes to Japan, he's doing the Centauri ads, like, when it's time for whiskey, make it Centauri time. It's like, yeah, just does the smile for that. It's like, cut. It's like, please do it with more intensity. He's like, are you sure? Is that all they wanted? He's like, yeah, it is. But, I mean, fitting that, I guess, as well. Maybe that's also the reason for the teen rating on this, but I don't know. Actually, also, to go to that, I don't know if this is a game that got censored in any way, or this specific Final Fight anyway, because I know, we mentioned this before, Poison from Final Fight 1 was edited out of most of the releases of this that aren't porting the arcade version, of which actually that Sega CD version was sort of one of, unless you get the Japanese version, or run the Japanese version that's in that Mini 2 unit, or the Genesis Mini 2, I should say. But, yeah, with this one, I don't know if there's really anything they censored out of it that I'm aware of. Oh, stop it, get out of the way, Fritz. And the bombs will move on the ground, so yeah, and even though it's a small explosion, it can hurt you. Okay, fine, it's tea. I'm gonna assume the Japanese version was alcohol. So maybe it was. Maybe there is a reason. If there's some indication of that, hey, they changed that, I will indicate it, but, I'll do that when I edit. Ugh. Yeah, in her case, here's the thing also about her dash. She has the elbow thing, which doesn't have much of a reach, and I know the other characters have more of one. But if you're really close, you move really quickly, you can kind of do better things with it, but it's not easy. I mean, fine, that part's not easy. Even though I'm saying, like, hey, this is the easiest one. I mean, it sort of is, but you do still have to bring your game to it a little bit. You can't just completely sleepwalk through it. But as I said, it's also a great benefit that, hey, if you don't play these games much, you're going to be a good case of being able to have a good time, or have an idea of getting a primer for a game like this. It's actually, Dolly Fan, I think you mentioned this before, the idea when we did Tetris Attack, you said, this made me feel like I could play this kind of game and other games specific because of how it lays things out. Which I guess this one does that too, and as I said, the other thing is that I guess this might be a little more complicated in that you have, like, the button combinations for the moves and everything, but the basics are not hard to grasp. Although, in the case of this, you do need the instruction manual, basically, to understand what all the moves are. Yeah, just waiting for them to come by. Yeah, she can knife me in the back, but I don't feel it. It doesn't count when I'm doing that move. And I don't know if it's that way with the other characters. We'll find out, because I'll show them off. Alright, so we almost have Fat Jack and May. Yeah, all the girls are named May, by the way, in this one. I gotta beat them up since they're off screen. I can kind of keep hitting that, and maybe they'll run on the feet. But if they don't, that's fine. Just hit them that way. We'll jump back and in the wall, dude. Oh, with that, I think she's gonna kick the wall open. Perfect. Alrighty. Yo, so we're in a nice Japanese restaurant. Okay. As I said, well, I will also show off the other path just because later on. Because, yeah, this is definitely different. If you don't go this way, you take a trip onto a boat. And there's a different fight you have when you go that way. So if nothing else, it also just give it a lot of replay value in the sense of, okay, I can play this, I can go one way, and then I can go another way. Which is unique, because I don't think... Yeah, Streets of Rage... Okay, fine. Streets of Rage also has good and bad endings. But I don't think... I'm trying to remember if Streets of Rage has... branching paths quite like this one does. I think it has a little bit, sort of, maybe. I mean, we'll figure that out, because we're probably going to play that next year. I have to talk with the medics after we finish Parasite Eve next month. Yes, it's when does he want to do that? When does he want to do, well, why? When did him and the Crusader 64 want to do Lufia 2 Rise of the Sinistrals specific, because I know they want to do that. And how that really is all indicating. Or as the Crusader 64 said a couple weeks ago, he's like, yeah, you're booked up for six years. Like, yeah, he's not wrong, technically. Well, I'm sort of booked up that way. It was like, I gotta figure schedules. So like, hey, if somebody said, like, hey, they want to see one thing, we gotta figure that out first, and then get other stuff in line, understand the lengths of everything. So that is a unique way of doing this, and as I said, I don't want to stop this. I want to keep doing this show. I just love doing this every week into all the elements that it goes, and everything that all of you out in chat get into, and I love it. I hope you're liking what you're seeing, or interested in what you're seeing anyway. As I said, also remember, because it's a beat 'em up, I've sort of explained how a lot of the beat 'em up mechanics are working. You're seeing the idea that I'm beating the hell out of people for this, as it is, to get the ultimate goal of being able to save everybody, or save the city. So yeah, open mic night as always is in the show. Anything you got on your mind, let's go. I'm loving it. Okay, thank you. I'm appreciating your idea that, I guess, Dolphin, to this, you said, I don't know, did you say that you had experience with this franchise or beat 'em ups specific, or what that idea might have been exactly? Yeah, feel free to go on that if you'd like, or any of the people who are with you, I should say, because you said you did have a couple people with you. It's like, that's that idea. Like, hopefully they're enjoying the show as well. Thank them for tuning into this. Say, like, hey, you're interested in seeing what the show is. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I just came out of that. That's what's gonna sometimes happen when you miss with that. They can be right there at the back of it. Beat 'em ups, yes, in that you have experience with them, or you're just interested in them, or what specific? Actually, we played a couple of these. Yeah, I'm getting pile drived by Andor, I guess. Ow, stop it! Yeah, and they have a lot of them in different colors, so yeah, in that case, yeah, the red one, the green one, they're going away. Fitting for Christmas, I guess. Like, yeah, it's different, yeah. I'll give you a Christmas beating, that's the idea. Boom. Yeah, she's crying about it, but she gets up and she's fine. With Streets of Rage specific, yeah. Which we played the first two of before. Yeah, feel free to go into memories on that one as well. As I mentioned, also the idea that, and the reason we're doing Streets of Rage and Final Fight back-to-back, specifically, or alternating off at least, is because they were kind of rivals to each other as far as the franchise were concerned. And you kind of see them taking notes from both of the games, really, because I mentioned with Streets of Rage 2, which we played last month, that there's some enemies that kind of seem like they're kind of nodding to this. And in this game, where they're saying, like, there's a lot that Streets of Rage is doing, although in this case, we're not going into the mess hall. Or the kitchen, at least. I don't know if you could throw enemies into the fire that well. Let's try that. Because you can bust stuff in the backgrounds, but not so much with this one. I also played Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure. Okay, I don't know if I played that one. People are going on that one. As far as the Dragon Ball games I've played, as you're seeing Wong, the boss here. I played, on the Game Boy Advance, I played Legacy of Goku, which I was kind of on in some ways. I've heard sequels actually really, really good compared to the first one. I played Budokai on the PlayStation 2. I played Budokai 2 on the PlayStation 2. And I also played, I played Fighter Z on I have it on the Xbox One specific. That's a really good game. At some point I do want to show that. Come on, Wong, get in my feet. Yeah, it says they have multiple health bars to themselves based on color. Yeah, the white means they have, I think, 6 health bars. Yeah, stop! Yeah, you basically want to knock the health off them as quick as you can. Ow. It's like a 2D beat 'em up. Yeah, I guess like this in that way. I mean, that's an interesting thing too, I guess, with Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball everything, really. Because I don't know, honestly, now I'm thinking about this. How how many cases were there beat-ups? I mean, I guess Legacy of Goku kind of has beat-em-up elements. A little bit. It's mostly an RPG. Oh, fine, an action RPG a little bit. Sorta. But I do want to beat him because I don't want to do this again. I was waiting. Where is he? Oh, he's over there. Taking his time. Okay, so when I hit him, he does that. Actually, the English dub is the best version as far as the show, or the dub of the game as well. Yeah, feel free to go into that more other elements of that series, I should say. Yeah, we should definitely start showing some stuff with that as well. Feel free to indicate what game you'd like to see first for it, and we can make that happen, for sure. I mean, as I said, the one I own is Fighter Z, but there's other ones I can pick up, and most of them tend not to cost that much. Oh, okay, fine. I avoided him rolling into me, but I didn't get to hit him. Oh. Of Dragon Ball Z? Okay, so that's your perspective of that. Okay. You had talked about that, and I've liked that idea as well. And fitting, I guess, as far as the idea of, like, okay, the fighting, because there's a lot of fighting games of Dragon Ball Z, and yeah, I gotta avoid doing that. The boss in that is a one-on-one fighting, is a one-on-one fighter. Okay, so, alright, that's interesting. It's a beat-em-up, I guess, like this, but then it kind of changes itself to a little bit of a beat-em-up. Actually, I mentioned that last week when I was talking about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers games that were on the Game Gear. Interesting enough, because it kind of does something similar. It starts like a beat-em-up like this, but then it also is more about... Fine, I'll tell you what I'm doing. There's a bunch of a distance here. I'm just keeping him in this direction. Yes, okay, so that's that. What's interesting about that game is it kind of does the same thing in that... No, stop it! Alright, I'm dead. Oh, and it's in the air, which fits for that. Alright, you know what? Let's show another character. Show Hagar off. So they varied up that way as far as, like, varying his genre. Alright, fine. So here's Hagar. How he works is he's big and heavy. He has the wrestling thing, so he can hurt. He also has his move, which is the quarter circle forward and the Y button. It's that, punch that goes forward. What do they call it? The, Iron Hammer. Yeah, boom. Yeah, it goes forward a little bit, and it can hurt. And also, like other cases, you just pick them up, walk around, jump, and, it'll show this. Yeah, jump, hit the Y button, you go down, does the pile driver, as he always does, because, yeah, he knows what he's doing from his wrestling days. And his attack's a little different. He has to do it from a grab. So what you do is you pick up an enemy. I'm going to try and pick up Wong for this, because it'll, hurt him specifically. Yeah, dude. Yeah, forward, down, or forward, down, and Y button, and you do that. So he gets hurt pretty badly. You get thrown up and... Or the villains get thrown up and fight that way, but requires some concentration in terms of how they operate it, which is interesting that way, because some of the Dragon Ball Z and a Dragon Ball element, I thought that it's a lot about the spectacle, but that's interesting that way, as far as the fact that there's some... Well, fine, there's not going to necessarily be no strategy, something like that, but just the idea of how it's operating, which is unique that way, as far as it... Yeah, it might be an interesting one. You said this on the Game Boy Advance, yes? And we do have a way to show Game Boy Advance outside of, you know, what we showed as far as what's on Virtual Console for Wii U, because I have the Game Boy player for the GameCube, and it does rip everything Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color that you'd like to see. So, in that way, I can run. Alright, fine. Let's get him to run away. And he also has... Okay, there you go. Yeah, you can sort of do that in a punch. So as you're doing a punch, you can do that and then go into the hammer, or the Iron Hammer. Or yeah, do that run. Yeah, he's a bit slower as far as how his run is and his attack, because he has, like, yeah, he's just doing the quick fist thing there, sort of fist thing, not quick. Ow. Alright, but even he's gonna be in trouble. Alright, come on. Alright, yeah. If this doesn't take him down, at least we'll get him close. Oh yeah, it's pretty close. Ow. Yeah, I shouldn't have run into him, but hey, if you're in a case of running into this at the end of the level, it's like, yeah, you know what, fine, he's not gonna take too much damage. Alright, he's done. Finally, got him. Yeah, looks like he's having a palpitation, but he's gone. Also, by the way, one thing I didn't mention, when you get a game over, your score's not reset. So you're not getting extra lives. Alright, back in the back of the restaurant. And yeah, a little bit of a pause there, but like, alright, fine, here we go. Alright, round 5. Which I believe this is on the direction of where we're going, which is what I saw when I was doing the test. Alright, let's make a drink. I guess it's beer, specifically. Like, yeah, he needs it after everything he's been going through. And now we got new enemies. We got hunters. They're basically, I guess, Jason Voorhees with a baseball bat. specific. There's Ray, and yeah, Rick is what those things are called. Boom. Alright, yeah, I do love that idea. It just looks cool, and as I said, that you're invincible when you do that, so that's also the benefit of that as well. So you're not going to necessarily get pot-shotted until you come out of it. Sometimes they can pot-shot you that way. Alright, yeah, in that case, yeah, Fritz, you're going down that way. And I'm trying to remember if the explosion of the bomb can hurt the enemies like they could in the fire for the last Final Fight game we played, too. Yeah, just wait for that to go. Yeah, so basically that's kind of where we're at as far as that. Thank you for indicating that as far as it, because actually that is one of those Dragon Ball games I didn't play. And it sounds like a unique mix as far as it, because a lot of the Dragon Ball games that come out tend to be fighting games usually, or maybe some adventure games, sort of. But yeah, that sounds like a unique mix, and one that might be interesting to show. I might have to... That might be, maybe I should look for that and see if that's the first Dragon Ball game we can run for this. Because hey, as mentioned, we take viewer requests in the show all the time. Anything you want to see, we will run. Alright. Yeah, the only difference, as I said, with Hagar is because his attack is tied to throws. You can't necessarily use the super all the time. You basically have to pick your battles of where you're going to use it. Yeah, like, there. Alright, yeah, I just want to make sure I hit that right. And with the weaker enemies, yeah, it kills them in one hit. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, but you do hit them before the bombs drop, they won't drop them. Now, another on door. Although, actually, looking at that attack there, it's like, yeah, unlike Lucy, when you do the run with her, you get into the hit there, you hit the Y button, and you basically do a rapid hit. In that case, you basically just hit the fist, I guess, more through the enemies, so it causes more damage. So it also gives the idea that, hey, the characters play differently and have different attributes, so if a character's not working for you, you're trying to sense of how do I want to play this, you can experiment. I just like Dragon Ball Z. I just like Dragon Ball Z, so I like the franchise as far as it, and be interested in seeing that, I guess. Yes. Yeah, I get it. Okay, so we're at the factory. One thing to indicate. Okay, yeah, that takes you a different way. If I go that way... that will... Actually, I'm trying to remember how this works. Actually, some of these doors will give you items, but if I go down one of them, we avoid the boss here. But if I avoid the boss here, we get the bad ending. So, I kind of want to avoid that, but God, the boss here is insanely hard. It might be harder than the last one, honestly. So, I don't know if I want to hit it. Yeah, because you can go through these. Some of these have items. Okay, you know what? Fine. Just in case, I'm gonna... Oh, wait, that's for that one. No, I don't want to create a restore point. Fine, let's go in the door. Yeah, you basically walk, hit up on it, go through. Oh, shit, maybe I went the wrong way. I sure hope not. Because I think some of these have items in them. Okay, I can just leave. So, alright, fine. Good to know. I didn't actually know that as far as... Because I heard there were branching paths for this. Because some of them are items. I didn't want to lock myself out of fighting this boss. Look, I hate the boss here. The boss here is a pain in the ass to fight, but if I don't fight him, we'll get the bad ending, so I gotta avoid that. Or I want to avoid that. I also, by the way, link to all the endings anyway. After the show, or when I edit. Just because of that, I think it's probably worth doing that. Yeah, so just keep throwing the enemies at specific. Which, that's the other thing. It's one of the criticisms of this game tends to be the fact that, A, it seems like it's derivative of other games. B, it's easy. Although, in some cases, I'm not showing it easy the way we're running it. And also, that it seems like you're not having much enemy variety. Although, as I mentioned, you have color palette swaps of enemies in Streets of Rage 2. So I don't necessarily get that bugged by it, as far as this one. Or, I guess to go back to ElecVerse, as you're mentioning as far as the console wars show, is finding... Yeah, that looks like Guy, but it's like fake Guy. It's not him. So like, alright, fine. That guy can go away. In fact, let's make it that way. Yeah, that's not the real one. Don't worry. So him dying is fine. Don't worry. he's going. But go back to the console war show. I remember they're doing their episode on separation anxiety, the Spider-Man Venom game, and they kept saying about Life Foundation soldiers, the idea that that's the only enemy through most of that game. Which, that's not this one. This one does have a lot of enemies to them, but it mostly is a couple of the same ones. But I guess how they vary that up is the fact that, hey, you're gonna come to the battle situations thinking that you want to fight them a little differently. Usually. Alright, yeah, we're going the right way. Yeah, because if you go a different way, you can avoid the boss here, as I mentioned. But, alright, fine. Alright, so there's, our chicken. That, by the way, or the rotisserie, whatever it is a full health recovery, so I don't want to use it yet. And yeah, I should be using that more. Yeah, because the, attacks that are not super, you can use them as many times as you want. You just have to hit the button combination right. The super one you can only use once when the bar is filled, and then it goes back to nothing, and you build up again by beating enemies. Oh, come on. Oh yeah, I don't want to necessarily off-screen that thing right away, or too much, because otherwise I can't get it. Remember that happened when we did Streets of Rage 1, that was my own fault. Like, yeah, I want to use that, but I don't want to use it right away. I mean, I guess it's just an insurance policy, I guess. Alright, fine, we're taking it now. Oh. Yeah, that does run multiple hits as far as his dash attack, so that's good. Yeah, also in that case, I gotta wait for them to, you know, stop being dazed. So I guess that makes it interesting too, really, because in that sense, like, usually when you hit an enemy, they just pop up. But in this case, you have to pretty much time when they fall and then when they're gonna be able to fight again. So you pick them up, because yeah, they're invincible when they're doing that. We'll also know what enemies do that and don't, because yeah, Ondore doesn't do that, or Ondor doesn't do that. Okay, that was interesting. He's walking backwards. So I guess the enemies can do the same thing I can do with the, holding the R button, although actually, I've really not done that much. Alright, can I hit one of these guys? Yeah, but he's just looking for the one that I can grab, and then just do it quickly. I think it's like about, I'm trying to think about how much time it is before that super bar goes down if you don't use it. I think it's 30 seconds, I think. If that's not right, I'll put an edit here saying what it is. Alright, so, going into the next area. Yeah, as I mentioned, you can avoid this part of it if you play your cards right. I didn't, so we're fighting the boss here, or we'll fight the boss here specifically. By the way, if I die the boss here, I gotta start this part of it over again, this whole hallway, or this hallway in the furnace, I should say. Oh. Yeah, I always forget that down thing is basically just going backwards with the enemy. Yeah, actually, no, okay, I'll tell you why I forget that, because in the last game you hit down in order to do the, rapid hits for the enemies. Okay, so they're done, alright, come on. Oh. Okay, I want to look at that. Okay, I think I did one of my attacks, and it just missed him. Alright, there you go. It does feel nice to do that, and I guess in some ways it gives me a little bit of a break, as far as being able to just sit back and just watch. Now, I'm kind of wondering, am I going to be able to do this on 3 lives? Or 4 lives, I should say, because 0 just counts as life in this game. Thankfully, it's not like Streets of Rage where it doesn't. Okay, so we're almost there. I'm getting nervous about that boss, because it's actually, as I said, one of the hardest bosses in the game. And this I did fight, and as I said, there's a way to avoid it that I didn't avoid. Actually, I guess in that way, I guess I'm taking the complete run of the game, just doing it the way we're doing it. Although, I will show off those extra paths as far as before we shut the show down. As I said, when we play a game, I've always said this, I'll say it again, just because we will play the game as fully as we can. I mean, that's what happened with Mega Man X4 last week, that with the edit, I mean, that was almost 7 hours. But, yeah, that was totally worth it. Oh. Actually, I didn't get to show him doing the bat the bat yet, so in that case, I'm glad I showed it. So it's one of those cases I'll say this also with when it comes to a game like this, or anything really, that we play. I sometimes like to show some of the failures off. Sometimes to give a sense like, okay, what's the struggle, but also because, hey, it just looks cool, the idea like, hey, the thing with the bat. Alright, so yeah, there is health in this. I do want that. The barbecue is a full health. Okay, yeah, in that case I was able to also make it so, yeah, he went into the other enemies, which is good. But it's one of those weird things, I wish I could hold it forever, because I have the boss coming up, and I want to use that as quickly as I can use it, if I can. Although, one thing to mention is when I did my test on this, I mostly played as Lucia. Maybe it's like Blaze with Streets of Rage, maybe that's that idea with me, but... I think I only fought this boss once as Hagar. Alright, here he is. This is Stray. He's, I guess this is Terminator dude. He does the jump around. He moves really fast. He can block your shots. He will do the punches often. And he hurts badly. Like, that punch there took like a third of my health away. If I die to him, we have to start at the beginning of the furnace again. Not the whole level, thank God, but I have to do the fight up to him before that. And oftentimes, I tend to lose most of my lives to him anyway. And also, because I'm Hagar, doing the throw with that is going to be weird unless I get lucky. Okay, perfect. And also try just to use the enemies, throw it into him. Or throw them into him, and then do the dive there if I can. Ow. Yeah, sometimes you punch you out of it, so that's a problem. Yeah, I don't know if 2 lives is gonna be enough to beat him. But I'll try. Ow. Yeah, look at that. That hurt pretty badly. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna pretty much resign myself that I can't beat him right now. I'll probably take the game over and we'll be in better case of that, I think. Also, by the way, I guess one thing to mention, if I somehow get a full game over and don't have continues left, we do have to restart the game, unfortunately, because there are no codes to this in the US version. The European version has a debug mode with a level select. We don't have that, unfortunately. I hope I can avoid that. Damn. Alright, bye-bye, Hagar. Fine, we'll continue. Yeah, he's there, he'll live. Let's run with that guy. And we're back. I think, Chad, if you're still there. Yeah, sorry about this. This is gonna be an interesting edit, I'll say that for sure. Okay, I'm back to fighting. There we go. Yeah, if you can see me, let me know. Yeah, hopefully you're seeing me beat the ever-living hell out of Fat Jack. Yeah, I guess, the boss here didn't want me to beat the game either. He said, you will not know this when I edit it. And I don't know why that happened. It was very weird, but, either way, we gotta get going. Assuming you're still there. So yeah, feel free to let me know, Chad, if you're still there. And, yeah, as I said, we're back with Final Fight 3. It's gonna be very weird as far as the fact that we multiple videos, but, either way. I'm back. I was able to get everything set. I think everything's in line. My internet is set. I'm seeing you. Yes. Great. Dollyfin, thank you very much. I took some Tylenol for the headache I have, I guess because of that. Literal and physical. Or literal and metaphorical, I should say. Alright, there we go. Looks fine. Perfect. Okay. Which is weird. Let's go into that. So, I mean, when I edit this, a lot of people say, what the fuck are you talking about? But since all of you have seen this show, you know, live as far as this, let's talk tech elements. I've mentioned this before. How do I do this? I have a PC that everything's connected to, and consoles and all that for my capture device, and then link it to Twitch as far as it. And weird enough, I had this last week, or Nocturne and Protorova and I had this last week, in the sense that we went down with something with Mega Man X4, but it looked fine on our end, and the video we took was no problem. For this one, we lost visual this way. Oh, fine, the visual's sorta on screen for that one, and in this case, I'm hardwiring it into my pretty fast internet. So I was like, alright, fine. In this case, this is more of a case of, alright, fine, I couldn't... Or something going on Twitch's end, or it was, anyway. As back in Factory. Yeah, we gotta beat the boss here. I was like, yeah, I've had enough. He said, because I'll also go into one thing, because, I mean, weirdly enough, paradoxically, I'm kind of glad this happened in the sense it lets me kind of explain this. Because I always said, hey, I'll run around, this is, okay, you wanna know why I do the edits? This is why I do the edits. Because I've run into cases where the stream has had problems with itself, and I can't really do much with it when I'm showing it. But then when I set it up and, yeah, whereas, yeah, Stray, fuck you, you gotta die. I've had enough. Yeah, I guess, yes. He's like, yeah, okay, that's not the reason Stray is a hard boss. That he's gonna destroy the stream for this specific. But as I said, when I run into cases of stuff like that, that's why I do the edit. It's also why I was like, fine, I'm gonna try as far as running that way. And trying to think of as far as what other things for this. Ow. Because I'll say one other thing. If I couldn't get this up again, we'd figure this out as far as, like, doing this again. The only time I really had to do that was Star Fox 64. That was just getting the stream started. I couldn't do that. So in that case, like, fine, it made sense to run it that way. For this one, it's like, fine, we're doing it already. Actually, ran into this with every part of Parasite Eve, despite the fact of how everything I have is, unfortunately, damn. But yeah, I don't want to die to Stray after all this. Yeah, as far as what he does, he'll block my shots. Oh, damn it. Alright, come on, guy. Let's take care of him. Okay, good. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, he didn't walk into my fist of fire. Ow! I'm gonna die again. No. Yeah, also, I think maybe the easiest way is just, since the enemies are gonna keep coming, just keep throwing it at him. Throwing them at him. Well, actually, I guess I could show one other thing with Guy if I can make this happen, which is if I grab him again, I could throw him on the ground. The thing is, he moves so erratically, so that's the idea of why he's tough to beat. Yeah, there you go. Alright, at least I'm kind of close. We're getting there. And as you do get his health down, more powerful enemies will come out to help him. Fine, there you go. There's my extra joy. Okay, yeah, I sort of showed that. You can basically put him on the ground and punch him. Ow. Yeah, I'm close to getting him if I can get him. Damn it. I'm just barely alive somehow. Ow. Oh, unfortunately, my super went away. Alright, but he's on a life bar. So as long as I can get him out of this and I don't have to fight him again, I'm down with that. No! I don't have to do this again. Fucking hell. Alright, fine, I'll have to do it again. I'll take that over what's going on. Alright, fine, you know what? We'll take, I'll take Lucia just because I want to beat this boss. Alright, ouch. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that, yeah, I mean, see, it's funny, I said that this is the easiest one, but then I might potentially be getting a game over on this. I hope that doesn't happen. If it does happen, though, actually, no, if it does happen, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll load the save state, we'll go the other way. And I'll just show what's going on as far as an edit. Yeah, if I come there with full lives, it should be fine, so that should be fine. Yeah, in the meantime, chat, feel free, as we're going through this again, go into anything else you got in your minds as far as what it is, or anything maybe about the tech elements of doing streaming. They said, unfortunately, this one's not beyond, was not within my control, unfortunately. There are some cases maybe it has been as far as stuff with internet and things of mine, for my tech, mainly is not super new, I'm not gonna lie, because as I said, this is sort of a fly-by-night program in terms of that. But for this one, I think, yeah, it's more of a Twitch end, and unfortunately, yeah, I couldn't completely get a set of that. Yeah, my internet was set, everything was good, it's just that, yeah, the picture went out, and I saw that, it was like, wait, I was like, whoops, it was like, first it was like, whoops, me dying, like, wait, no, whoops, see, my dying to Stray the first time took the stream down, so there you go. I guess that's narrative SuperOldGameSaturday, the idea of in Final Fight 3, Stray, yeah, not only is he a hard boss, but yeah, he destroyed the stream specifically, or finally brought it down. But nothing else, I guess I'm driven more, and I guess it goes to the idea of what happens when a game like this, when you're in a case where you're being prevented from beating it, you're like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna be stopped. Oh, I gotta remember now, I'm back on the, no grab special. Alright, but in that case, yeah, he's going away. There's also the ouch case going back to that dolphin, good indication that way, just because of the fact that, hey, I almost had him, so it's like, yeah, be getting close and then dying. Alright, come on, come on. If nothing else, it does give you a good idea as far as the way the settings are set up, and it does feel interestingly atmospheric in some ways. Alright, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, they're gonna give me the go arrow soon enough to go, right? Yeah, walk on my feet, please. Oh, he's not dead yet? Okay, fine, he's dead now. Come on. Yeah, so there goes Ray. So I always think of Raging Bull specifically. You never knocked me down, Ray. It's like, yeah, no, I did knock him down. He's going away. Alright, there we go. So yeah, just need to make sure that... Yeah, unfortunately, they move out of the way, and I don't like that. That's the one thing that's annoying, especially as far as her attack. Like, I can totally whiff it. As far as how that I attack if they move out of the way, although... Yeah, I think maybe that's also the idea that, hey, you're moving on this plane this way, so it makes it kind of difficult to run those Street Fighter moves that way. I mean, at least with Street Fighter, you're on a flat 2D plane. Alright, fine. Stray, I have 6 lives, I'm not dying to you, or I'm not getting a game over to you again. If he does that, he'll do the jump, so then run towards him. Try and throw enemies into him. Alright. Alright, so if nothing else, you're seeing, I guess, the strategy of how to handle Stray, which is, yeah, when you hit him or knock him to the ground, he'll do a jump over. So be out of the way of that, don't get punched by him, throw enemies at him, do all that, and make sure you don't run out of lives. Oh. Or get too close, I'll do is to punch me. Basically just wait till that super meter gets charged up and hit him if you can hit him. Ow, stop it, no! Okay, good, he walked right into it, perfect. Because even with the white health bar he has, which is as full as he can go, he's still not completely out of that state. Okay, that's the other thing. Use the run jump. So, yeah, when you're doing the run, double tapping D-pad, jump, hit Y button, and you can hit him. Alright, fine. That might be the easiest way. Yeah, because we're actually going to see that with Final Boss. There's feasibly a way to cheese that if you're lucky. You have 6 lives? Yes, you do. And 5 continue. Oh, fine. 6 continues I had. I only have, I think, 2 left. So you do have a lot of chances. Okay, good. I did the movement there. I actually didn't plan to do that. I was like, well, okay, fine, I'll take it. So I do have a decent number of chances, maybe. Ow. Even when I was doing my test play on this, I had 6 lives and I had, like, 1 left by the time I was done with him. But already I'm in a better shape because I've already got his health bar almost to the yellow. So when you see it going, be able to be going red when you hit stuff, that means you're almost there. Okay, there you go. That is, I guess, your movement. Basically, just keep running backwards and hope the leg kick will take him out. And we'll dodge out of the way. So, alright, fine. Cheap a little bit, but, yeah, he needs to go. Ow. Okay, good. And I was surrounded, but I had 1 more usage of my special move. I think I'll get him. Oh, God. Come on, walk on my feet. Please walk on my feet. Oh, okay, unfortunately. He jumped into it, but I missed. Alright, I almost have him. 1 more hit and he's dead. Alright, there you go. The enemy got him. I'm dead. I got him. Thank God. Whew. Alright. That was interesting. And that was round 5. Yeah, maybe I see why people try to skip this boss. Alright, I didn't show the other bonus stage. Right, there's a bonus stage by me not going that way. But we find the computer. Run past the oil drums, or try to. If you're on plane that way, you can basically run away from them and not get hit. Get to the end of it, there's a computer. Bust it and you get health, or not health, you get points. But be careful of the barrels. Or do that jump and kick them. Oh, there's an item that comes out. I actually didn't see that on my test. Oh, what was that? A life! Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, I did not know a life came out of that. Thank God. Great. Okay, so in that case, yeah, you run away from the oil drums, you get points for hitting the oil drums. Oil drums sometimes have items in them, and in that case, add a life. I'm very happy to see that. Because you don't see lives often in that game. In fact, I don't think I saw them once when I was doing my test playthroughs at all. But alright. So, after everything we went through and the tech crashing, Trail of the Skull Cross Gang led us back to the city. It's one of the largest buildings in Metro City. The final fight is about to begin. On this console, anyway. Alright. So let's go. One more challenge, and then I'll show off the random stuff, and then I'll be done with the show, and I'll have to figure how edit's gonna work for all this stuff, but I'll be able to make it happen somehow. So it'll be very smooth. Alright, we're round 6. This is the last level of the game, by the way. As you go through, just go through the hallway, or go through the entrance to the building. Ow! Also, I guess now I'm at this point now of this, like, I can at least talk about one thing I didn't mention. Or, I'll mention that at the end. Elements of the credits. Fine, I'll mention one thing as far as that. There are no credits in this game, as far as, who worked on this game. I had to really dig deep to find out who did this. So, it'll be interesting to kind of give that indication as far as who did the music and design of this, because honestly, it's one of the few games of Capcom's. Why did they not do that? Got me. I don't know. I can't specify that. I've heard apparently there were Capcom games at this time that didn't do that, but we played Final Fight 2. It did. Mega Man X3 came out a month after this in the US, I should say. It did. There's not one other Capcom game that didn't, which was Marvel Super Heroes War of the Gems, which is not a port of Super Nintendo of the Marvel Super Heroes fighting game, but it is a Marvel game. I could beat 'em up kind of like this, actually. It was. I don't know why this doesn't have a credits sequence to it, though. I mean, I know in some cases with a lot of the Capcom games, some of the ones we played, including, Mega Man X4 we played last week. We played Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, where it had credits were pseudonyms of people. But I don't know. That's common with certain things. Sometimes you think that, wait a minute. Actually, I mentioned Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis from the Game Boy Advance. That was a question to that as far as when they released that, because it's a port of a Sega Genesis game, or a rebuild of a Sega Genesis game, but nobody knew who made it. In that case, like, it's so bad, they're ashamed of it, and, like, maybe people don't want to know who did it. I don't know about this one. I don't think there's people who are like, oh, they're ashamed of this game. It's not a bad game. I think it's a fine game. I think it's a fun game for the kind of thing it is. And it definitely takes a lot of unique chances with the series. But yeah, there's not much credits. I went to Moby Games for this. Usually I see, like, the names of the credits for everybody, but, like, no. I said, wait a second, am I missing something? I was doing my research on this. I said, let me look up the endings, because I want to give an indication of what those are when I edit this. And I realized, I was like, where's the credits? I said, they don't give credits in this game. They didn't in the Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems game either. I'm like, you didn't? I was like, that just seemed very bizarre to me. So, I only found a couple names. All right. Okay, at least get in the building, please. Yeah, if I'm gonna lose my last life here, I don't want to lose it right here. I want to at least get in the building first, because that'll count as a checkpoint. Ow. Oh no! Yeah, I think I might die to him. Okay, at least I avoided him that way. Yeah, just staying still, like, I don't want to miss this shot. One more time in the foot. I got him, that should be it. Oh, he's gonna get in. And we're back. Yeah, sorry about that, ElecVerse. Don't worry, the edit will make this seamless. This is why I do the edits. It's also why you said thank God for the edits. You're right. Absolutely right. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My tech was fun. Jump kicking beat 'em ups is his best friend. Yeah, no question. It saved me very nicely. Okay, yeah, let me bust the door down. Come on. Well, get up here. I want to hit you in the door. There's stuff in here. Yeah, over here. Perfect. Okay, go in, hit up on D-pad. Alright, fine. I think there's an item in here. Alright, there's enemies in the control room. There is something over there. I want to try and see if I can get that. Ugh. Oh, there's life. Fantastic. Alright, perfect. So this might be the way I'm saving myself. Alright, that saved me right there. So there's a life in here. I can go get that. Yeah, you're right. I love the jump kicks. You're right about that. And actually, now I'm thinking about it, we've shown that a lot when it's come to the beat-em-ups as it's been. Yeah, that's what finally got me to beat the boss from the last level. Actually, do they keep coming or can I leave? You know what? Fine, I guess I can leave. Let's run away. Because I got the life. It saved me, sort of. But, yeah, I want to see if there's other stuff. I think there's health in some of these. So if I can find more health and things. Yeah, you don't have a lot of pickups in this game, I'm realizing. Unless you kind of go out of your way. Yeah, in that case, bust the glass over there. So yeah, you have to kind of be a little on your game for figuring out where everything is. Alright, there we go. Although here's the thing also, you're saying jump kick's your best friend. You can't always hit out of the run that Fat Jack and Arby do. You have to kind of pretty much just get them when they're coming off this side, just punch them. And then do the combo as it usually is. Alright, come on. Yeah, if you do that and get into that, yeah, you do more damage when you do that run and do the elbow in and connect with the combo and then just start hitting more. Especially if you do that kick there, the knee kick or whatever it's called. Alright. Alright, yeah, let me get the girls in here. Yeah, please let me open the door. Alright, May, come here. In the door, let's go. I'm just gonna go in every door now, because this is not gonna affect the ending. Assuming I don't get a game over. Please don't let me get a game over. I do not want to get a game over on this. Alright, so yeah, set him on fire. Oh, thank God. Give me that, give me that, give me that! Okay, got it, thank God. Full health. I knew there's reason to come in here. Oh, except now it's getting melted away. But you know what? I'm leaving. Yeah, you guys have fun in the room. I'm invincible when I leave. Okay, this is the end of the room anyway, so I hope I don't get a game over here. But if I do, I just have to start this hall again. Which is kind of annoying, but it's like, whatever, it's fair. Ow. Ow. Actually, one thing I guess I noticed that by going into those rooms, I kind of avoid the enemies I have to kill here, except you. And you can't jump out of the way of Arby, as I may have mentioned. You can also jump out of the way with that special hers. Ugh. Yeah, they're stacked up like this. You can sometimes hit onto them like that. So get lucky that way. But I know there's undoors coming out after I kill them. Oh, and May. Ugh. Ah, shit. Alright, fine. How many credits do I have left? Oh, that's it. Shit. Okay, I don't want to get a game over. I'm tempted. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm gonna put a save state down here. If I have to use this to continue, we're gonna do it. Otherwise, I start the game over again, and I'm not putting you through that. Oh, it puts me right back here. Oh, real? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, maybe that's okay then. Okay, I didn't know that. So when I go in the room I ran into, this is my checkpoint. Okay, because in my test play, I didn't go in any of those rooms. And I started at the beginning of the hall again. So actually, that's good. That being said, is that I'm going to use this just because of, you know, being able to show this game off and finish it. Yeah, for something I said is the easiest of these three, I'm like, I'm not making it look that way. And usually the way you want to handle this is just keep them on the same side if you can. That was it, yeah, on-door, walking with feet. Has anyone played Hollow Knight? I've heard of it. Everybody loves it. People mention that to me. They're waiting for that sequel. Hollow Knight Silk Song. It was like, when's it coming? Like, it's coming. That's all they said. It's supposed to be like a Metroidvania roguelike kind of game. I've heard nothing but praise for it. It's on a bunch of units. I have not played it. Have you, Dolphin? It looks fantastic as far as like the look of it, the atmosphere is creating, and this is also one of the few areas where there's more than 3 enemies on the screen. There's 4, which I know is, from what I understood, that is because of processing power. Oh, stop biting me, guys. But as I said, this game does come with a smart way to kind of get around that. Like, okay, fine, it is a technical thing, but because they keep respawning them after one of them dies, like that, it can make it so that it's not going to be necessarily a cakewalk. I didn't play it, but it looked really good. Yeah, I've heard nothing but praise on that game. It looks fantastic. And at some point, I do want to play it, and I would like to show it to you. I've only played a little, ElecVerse says. Okay, yeah. Go into that. What's your first impressions specific on that one? I've heard it's awesome, and I love the style of it. And it's one of those cases where it's this kind of thing that even as far as like an independent game, even people I've known who say like, hey, they're not necessarily thinking like they would go for something like that, they've really liked it. I mean, I like the Metroidvania stuff. We got to play a Metroid game and a Castlevania game like that, as it is eventually specific. That definitely is an interesting one. Hey, people want that sequel for a reason. Now, stop! This is going to take us up to our final destination, though, so it's not going to be too bad. Because, hey, remember, we have to beat him up, what happens? You go to an elevator section. Alright, there we go. Oh, wait a minute, we're not done yet. We have another hallway. Shit, I forgot about that. It didn't keep my interest. I've heard it's a bit of a investment. That I've understood. What people said about it. Yeah, fine, we're gonna do this again just because, hey, we're here. I'm not gonna do this to avoid it. So at least I have 4 lives. I should be able to hopefully get through this in 4 lives, I hope. But if I don't, as I said, that's my backup. I'm sorry, this is the only way of running it. I mean, maybe that's the idea, and we can go into that too, which is the idea of games you played that maybe you can appreciate things that they're doing, but for some reason you kind of put them down. I mean, honestly, I guess I've been that way in a lot of cases, not necessarily because, like, hey, I don't like a game. It's just I pick something up, and then, like, I pick something else up afterwards, and then focus to that, and I just don't go back to something else. Now, so I guess this show's kind of helping it a bit, as far as saying that, okay, stuff I haven't played, stop it! Will let me, play some of those things that I've put off. I guess even like something like this. I just do this and I'll read off that comment just a second. She looks like a Dead or Alive character now I'm thinking about. As far as Lucy, yeah, no question. Actually, she looks like, since we played Dead or Alive 1 for the fighting showcase, she looks like Tina Armstrong used to look in that game. Where she kind of looks, she's not so much the, well, she's got the wrestling thing, like the, I don't know, like the official attire specific. Yeah, good point on that. And this is before Dead or Alive came out, so. Something to be said about that too. Alright. Yeah, that May is powerful, or fine, has a lot of health. Almost there. Come on. So those are one of these things, it's weird. I do want to do the special moves that I have when I don't have the bar up. But it's also one of those things that I'm kind of afraid I'm going to miss. Either way. It's like, okay, there's that. There we go. She's in the range. Good. Except that one has the bigger health. Alright. I mean, I guess there's something interesting said about that, like, for as far as it, because, I mean, I guess with Capcom, now I'm thinking about it, I don't really know of a whole lot of examples where Capcom kind of is played into, I guess, the sexual element, I guess, when it comes to some of their characterizations. I mean, in some cases, yes. A little bit. I mean, fine, the bouncing breasts here, just like Dead or Alive in that way. But, outside of that, I can't really think of much. And I just said, since I didn't play Street Fighter V, I don't know, do they play that with this character for Street Fighter V, or just the idea of something else? Fine, yeah, when I see the... Here's the other thing also I guess I didn't mention with Franz. There's a lot of things because I'm not mentioning with him. Oh. Yeah, careful with that. Or with Fritz, not Franz. Fritz. when you hit it, or when he throws the bombs down, they just go away, so nothing happens. That's it. Alright, yeah, if I can keep them both on the side of the screen, we'll be good. Yeah, the good news is that Arby and Fat Jack, was it? They don't hit me much, even after I've, you know, punched them that way. Alright, come on. They'll just kind of walk in view, so if I can just do that, we're set. Alright. Get the one in place, but... Ow. Yeah, if you'd only wait a little bit for that, you know? Ugh. Almost got him, hopefully. Yeah, I want to point out the bouncy breast thing, but not being vulgar. It's like, hey, fitting. It's like, we mentioned that before. You mentioned that before. Like, hey, sometimes you gotta mention it. Like, well, okay, you can see it now. Fair enough. It's like, sometimes just, yeah, coming out and indicating that, I get that. He's like, but hey, it's an look, we understand where this is coming from. This idea of the insight. You're saying that, hey, you haven't played this game before. I've barely played this game as it is, outside of the stuff of doing for tests and picking it up. But it's also something that, I kind of noticed that too. I was like, okay, that's different. I guess when you think about it, here's the other thing, I guess we put it in this context. The idea that a lot of Nintendo's early stuff would not, I mean, usually they would kind of mute that kind of thing, whether it's in the Super Nintendo era or whether it's even later, like on N64, stuff like Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem has the nudity cut out of it, specifically compared to the PC version and the other consoles' releases. Yeah, she's hidden Daryl alive because of that specifically. Yeah, in one way, but also, in one way I would say, but also I think in some ways, even the way they get her character down as far as like what we've seen in the cutscenes. Oh, well, I'm getting strangled. She seems like the kind of character that would be something like that, hey, you know, like the secret agent, almost like a Christie, perhaps, in the third Daryl alive game. Yeah, she's the assassin that way. Even the background, like, hey, you know, Hagar helped her because of like a corruption charge that was running that way. It blows my mind also with Dead or Alive in that you can adjust the way the breasts move in the sense, yeah, because of the age thing. Put them up to 99. I didn't even know that's what it is, like, your age. Like, I thought they like, take that literally. So it's like, when I was growing up, I was like, yeah, I'll take that literally. I'll put in the age. And then I realized, like, it is, like, okay, that's weird. And then when they went individual, when it came with Dead or Alive Extreme 2, that was strange. And at that point, then, with 6, they toned it down, which when enough people were kind of annoyed by. It's like, wait a second, you're kind of toning down this franchise. Seems like you're kind of taking it too seriously now. I don't know. I didn't play Dead or Alive 6, so I don't know. Actually, I didn't even play Dead or Alive 5. Not that I didn't want to, it's just they never got around to that one. I played 4 a little bit on 360, but even then, not a whole lot. Alright, walk in the fist. We almost are done. Please, let's almost be done. Yeah, I'm almost getting exhausted just because of the idea of what's been going on tonight. Like, oh no. And also, I haven't played the best game of, or the Game Awards winner of Elden Ring. Yeah, people I know played that. That was, it was From Software made that. The people made Dark Souls and other stuff. Chasm 22 is a big one of that, as is Edwack specific, and Edwack will be on the show in about a month. They've said it's great. Everybody I've known says it's awesome. It's kind of this, it's like an action RPG sort of, but it's like the Souls kind of game. Insanely hard, although maybe not as insanely hard as some of the Souls games, I should say. Okay, good. Thank God he went off in direction. Come on, I'm trying to do the move. Oh crap, I waited too long. Okay, they're off screen and hopefully out of mind. So like, yeah, if they're coming up on screen, they don't hurt me. I'm down with that. It's on Xbox. Yeah, Elden Ring is on. It's on Xbox One. It's Series S, Series X, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC that have that. It is a game that I know a lot of people have told me is amazing. Ow! At some point, I'll definitely give it a shot. Hey, it did win the Game Award for Best Game last week, which is interesting because I was thinking like, hey, it's God of War Ragnarok gonna be the whole way of that. But yeah, good. He ran into my foot. Like, yeah, sometimes they'll just move around, they'll just be there, so it's, you're always happy to have that. Right, come on, we almost have him. Okay, fine. I'm choosing it this way. I'm happy this way, but remember, it doesn't always work completely, because, like, yeah, they're gonna go off that way. Come on. Oh no. Yeah, that's it. We almost done? Oh, we're done. We are done, I think. Yeah, alright, yeah, this is final boss of the game. My brother says it's his top 5 favorite games of all time. High praise, I've heard it's amazing. And yeah, I get that idea. So there's something to be said about that as well. The idea that something that came out as recently as it did is that way. Also, we're safe stating, because no way in hell we're doing this all over again. Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe it will be fine. This might sound dumb, but I didn't know there's an Xbox One. It's a different, confusion of Xbox One, because the original Xbox, which came out in 2001, the Xbox 360, then Xbox One spelled out W, or O-O-N-E. It's like, why am I saying one, W-O-N? It's like, no, that's the other one. And then Xbox Series X and S. Actually, the Crusader 64 was PlayStation. All the time, he always makes that mistake. Like, which one is it? This is Black, by the way. He's the final boss. If I can get him in a specific pattern there, I might be able to beat him easily, but I don't know if that's gonna be a guarantee. You do that, yeah, he does that crouch there. If you can kind of hit him that way, and you get element of the delay, I can beat him really easily, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. Or if he moves out of the way, that's gonna be a problem. Because he hurts badly. Like that, if you can do that, but he'll sometimes use spin. So yeah, the naming convention of the Xbox consoles is very weird, and like he was saying, yeah, why can't it be like PlayStation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Vita, and PSP, and all that. Like, yeah, fair enough. Like, I have to then differentiate. It's original Xbox, not Xbox One. Because people sort of unofficially called it Xbox One for years. But yeah, walking my feet. Fantastic. Ow. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a game over here, but that's why I put the save state down, because otherwise I'm not doing this again. It would be amazing if I don't, or we'll find out. We'll see if I can do it. Yeah, if you can get the timing down, because there's a little bit of pause when he has that kneel, and then he starts to be able to hit again. If I can do that... Ow, but he also has the Hadoken. He throws the knives. Yeah, still dumb. I call it the X-Bone. People then tended to. Specific. Alright, there you go. That is our game. Actually, you know what? Fine. I'll show what game over looks like. Because I got it. Alright, that is game over. There's no even theme for that. So yeah, if we're under normal circumstances, we have to start the whole damn game over again. We're not doing that. We're loading the restore point I had here. Thank God for modern conventions. Alright, fine. I showed you how the boss is working, so yeah. It's weird that way as far as, like, the naming convention that way. And I know the reason I think they said that with the Xbox One was the idea that... Well, they wanted to have one, one machine specifically to control everything, but unfortunately that ended up biting them in the ass a little bit, because then it became the case of, you know, they're not listening to gamers. Gamers are not happy about what's going on. They were doing an online requirement for everything, and they pulled back on that sort of, but a lot of stuff still has offline or online entanglements. So at that point, that's why the Xbox One was the worst selling console of the last three. So PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Xbox One was the worst performing one, to the point where Microsoft didn't even give sales numbers for how it did. So, at that point, that was the idea. Although, one thing, as I mentioned this before, there is one thing that Microsoft did great, and other companies could learn from this, for sure, is the backwards compatible thing. They are, without a doubt, the best company of that. And out of Microsoft, you wouldn't expect that. You'd think that, oh, the PC thing is going to be something that it's so hard to get modern or older games running on a modern console or modern Windows 10 machine, but they made that work for that. And in this case, it also doesn't matter if I get a game over again, because we'll just keep repeating, we'll keep the discussion going. Oh, unfortunately, he's invisible too going that way. But I avoid the Hadoken. Oh, not now I didn't. Alright, just keep doing it. Yeah, it's gonna get redundant, but either way, we're doing it. I don't give a shit. Yeah, Proto I have my ass on this, but yeah, with all due respect, he can, yeah, he'll deal with it. So yeah, this is the final boss, and I said we'll do this till we beat him, which I don't think should take that much time. I don't think, because I got close the first time. See, it's interesting, I guess we've gotten into that as far as like, hey, the naming convention of Xbox is dumb for how that is, or confusing. Fine, it's not, here's the thing, it's not even dumb necessarily, I'd say it's confusing, like, hey, what system to get? Like, sometimes the question of which one is it? So if you don't know, it's gonna create that question. We said with Nintendo, the idea that, you know, hey, they won't release, the Advance Wars games specific when really there's no excuse not to anymore. And the Pokemon thing, I mean, that's where I basically... Nintendo, totally, that's one of those things that I do not trust Nintendo anymore after that to release a working product. The Pokemon Scarlet Violet thing is a total betrayal, quite frankly, from Nintendo. I'm gonna say that right now. To the point where, first off, I am not buying that game in any way, shape, or form unless they patch it completely, and even then, I will not buy it new. I will buy it secondhand, so Nintendo doesn't see a goddamn dime in my money. So in that case, like, and I'm even saying that people will want to kill me for this, but I'm gonna say it. I don't trust that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is gonna run well. Because, hey, their QA team looked at this and said, yeah, this is fine. It's not just Pokemon Company, it's not just Game Freak that fucked this up, it's Nintendo too. And then with Sony, obviously, you can also say the idea of, like, some elements that have gone with Sony, like, how they handle backwards compatibility. Not well. So, in that case, yeah, we're giving our equal opportunity stuff, and I guess the other thing with Sega, I was like, hey, I've got Sega logoing for the show. Unofficial as far as how this is, but, you know, they made a lot of bad decisions and they went out of the console business. So, like, yeah, there you go. That's their element. So, it's interesting to see that and see the idea of, you know, when it comes to a company of any kind, really, when they let you down and when it's going to be a problem. Or ElecVerse, I know you mentioned that with Square. They did, like, how is modern Square running stuff and that being a problem that way. Or even Capcom, when Capcom had elements of, well, people mad at them at Mega Man Legends 3, even though to some degree that was not their fault. I mean, it was and it wasn't, because, yeah, Inafune screwed that one up. And no, I'm getting lucky killing Black this way. Yeah, if you do it this way, this boss is easy, but it's not always easy to get him into that position, but I'm getting into good shape. And we have one more thing to do, because when you get him down low enough, assuming you don't... Yeah, the screen shifts. Yeah, see the electricity, that looks nice. Let's hit him into that, why don't we? Alright, bye-bye, Black. Ow, shit, no. No. There you go, got him. And he gets thrown to the electricity and he is dead. Alright, there we go, thank God, we're done. And there's slowdown. I will show more of the slowdown specific when it runs to other stuff. Alright, yeah. This place is going down and there's flashing lights, so yeah, let's get out of here. Okay, so let's talk the ending a little bit as we go along. Alright, so good job. We did it. Finally. Tech crashes are getting game overs without save states. That's it. The city's in shambles, but, yeah, that's gonna be Hagar's job. He's like, yeah, thanks a lot, friend. Alright, so we took the path we did, and there is Dean's. Remember, he's going here for, revenge. What's your plan for after this? But what's going on? Oh, shit, this is the bad ending. Alright, I feel my fight is not over yet. But that's my problem, so please just leave me be. Okay, that's weird. I went the other ways. I guess that was the bad ending? Okay, I won't stop you, Dean, but come back if you need to. You'll always have friends in Metro City. Thank you. Okay, so he does do that. The good ending, by the way, is... Okay, it's two things. The good ending is him saying that I feel that my work is done, and I'll leave. And then if you beat it on an expert, which we're not doing, I'll put a link in showing what that is. It'll give another thing saying about, you know, the city sure looks nice with the sunset, and that'll be it. And, yeah, that was presented by Capcom. Also, I do need to do this because I gotta reset the game. Because this is an old Super Nintendo game where you cannot do resets with, I mean, at the end of the credits, or no, not credits, there's no credits at the game, forgot about that. You have to hit reset. There are a lot of games on Super Nintendo that did that, this is one of them. Okay, so, for the rest of the show, I'm gonna show the auto to play option. Yeah, I'll show it this way. I'll play as Dean. Actually, you know what? Well, actually, I'm gonna reset one more time. There's one thing I want to set. I want to make sure the don't hit your opponent thing is on. Because, yeah, you can play this game two-player like any beat-em-up you would like to do. You put the partner level up to being strong, keep him normal. Okay, hidden config off, that means friendly fire is off for that, so auto to play. I'll run Dean and Hagar. Yeah, I mentioned Dean as an electric uppercut. That is on forward, forward, up, and A. Or Y, I should say. So yeah, there's my AI running, so there goes Hagar. He's just playing himself that way. He'll help me sometimes, but there's some weird stuff I haven't... Oh, I'm holding him. Like, why was I not moving? Yeah, he's a bit slower as far as what Dean's doing, I should say. Yeah, you do have the two-player element there. There's one crippling flaw with the two-player, though, and in the auto two-player, you can still see it. In a little bit. Yeah, the AI is normally good, but there is one weird case I had actually when I did my tech check for today, and that is that he kind of is stuck just running in place without doing anything. I will put a picture of that or a video of that part here. Guy, the enemy's over here. You want to come and get him, right? That seemed weird. Okay, that might be editing fodder, potentially. Alright, so they're down, and we're going to the next area. Yeah, that crippling issue, it's slowdown. There's tons of slowdown in this game when you're doing two-player. When you're doing one-player, it's fine, but in two-player, yeah, it's pretty unbearable. And I don't remember how Final Fight 2 did it. I don't know if it did... Yeah, there you go. Whoa. Yeah, especially with Hagar on screen, because he's so big. Yeah, you got a problem with that with the two-player. So, yeah, if you're going to be doing this game two-player, yeah, get ready for slowdown, unfortunately. It might be one of those things that you kind of wish they'd re-release it and enhance it a bit, but, unfortunately, Capcom's not done that yet. I mean, they re-released a lot as far as stuff like that Capcom Arcade Stadium, or both of the two they put out. But with this one, not so much. And this was an arcade game anyway. Also, you see the graphical artifacts that are kind of bleeding across each other. You'll see some of the elements of the character sprites kind of having like these tearing lines through them. So maybe that's why people didn't like this game, or why it seems like it's been kind of gone and forgotten. Alright, there you go. There's the electric punch. And his super, by the way, let me show that. You grab and you hit down, up, and hit the Y button. And you do a shock punch, and there he goes. Actually, there's also one other move I didn't show, but it's kind of useless in some way. You do the quarter circle forward, and you do the Y button. You basically reach out, so you can kind of grab him from further of a distance. So it's like Jax in Mortal Kombat, when he does the gotcha! But, yeah, that's kind of what that is. Alright, so I guess for the rest of this, basically, I think what I'm going to show is I'm going to get to that part. I'm not going to play through the game again. But I'm going to get to the part where we have the bus stop. I'm going to at least go the other way. Yeah, I said, yeah, it's a little, fine, it's definitely slowdown intensive. So there's that. I mean, okay, fine, I'll go to what I was going to mention earlier, which is stuff about who made this game. As I said, it was nebulous. But what I found, it was produced by Takuro Fujiwara. I'm surprised I'm also doing this at the end of the show, not later in the show, instead of at the beginning. Who did producing and designing on Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, that we played about a month ago, as well as Gargoyle's Quest 2, which we showed on the Wii U menu, and then also the next Final Fight game we're going to play, which is going to be Mighty Final Fight for NES. That'll be the next time we come back to this franchise. As well, and it wasn't just him, it was also Naoto Kurishima, who's also known as Bengus, who did illustrations and artwork on Onimusha 4 Dawn of Dreams, as well as both the Power Stone games, Super Street Fighter 2, the Alien vs. Predator arcade game that Capcom made, as well as, actually he's going to be doing the artwork for Street Fighter 6, which is out next year. And as far as the music is concerned, that I dig for that one as well. It was by Katsunari Kitajima, who apparently a lot of his work was not credited for years. He did the music for Marvel Super Heroes War of the Gems for Super Nintendo, which came out the year after this, as well as Android Assault on the Sega CD, and the Black Matrix games, which are, I think these are the RPGs of sorts that only came out in Japan. And then he also did one piece of music for the gig stage in Guilty Gear, Guilty Gear Dust Strikers. That's the DS one. Yeah, thank you, Hagar, for punching him down, throwing him down while I'm rattling off the notes. But as I said, because there were no credits for this game for some reason, yeah, I had to kind of dig around for some of that stuff. But at least we have some of the names set. And this cutscene's the same, we're going to skip it. It basically says who is Dean, because Because, yeah, I didn't say initially. Alright, we'll go to the next stage. We'll go to round 3, and I'll break the bus stop. So, yeah, we're not riding the bus. I always show going on the boat. I think that's probably worth doing. And also show the other, what was it? The other bonus game that's there. And I think at that point, that'll be the show for the week. You know, I've had a good time for this, even though, yeah, it was weird as far as the tech stuff. Although, honestly, given how the edit's gonna go, you're not gonna notice it. You're like, wait, what are you talking about tech stuff? But I said it was interesting that way. I guess I'm weirdly glad it happened, only because, fine, thing on my feet, as I've always been saying, I said, if you can do that for anything you're a streamer officially, you can do it. But also because last week, when, Chad, I know you were saying you had problems with the tech you're seeing as far as when we're doing Mega Man X4, for the video we recorded, it was fine for some reason. For the Twitch upload, there was 6 minutes lost. I was like, wait, why is that? That seemed bizarre. But, yeah, that was what happened. Alright, fine, let's come over here. Let me see if I can't go in the door. Or maybe not. Alright, so, foot hot dogs are $1. Yeah, alright, yeah, I guess that's the thing. The 2-player, you do realize the limitations of this game as far as the tech is concerned. And I guess in that way, that's where I guess this is weaker than Streets of Rage. Because even though Streets of Rage was something that it was on less powerful hardware, it's something that ran the frame rate usually better. In fact, honestly, I can't really think of a whole lot of cases where there were bad frame rate cases on, oh, Jesus Christ, on any of those. That being said, I don't think this is a bad game. I think it's pretty fun, honestly. I mean, honestly, I'll say this. It's not, as far as I wouldn't even call it a bad beat-em-up. It's not one that's like, oh, this feels like it's kind of just lame. There's no reason to play it over anything else. I think it does differentiate itself because of the fact that, hey, it's kind of running the Street Fighter thing with its control mapping, which makes it unique and makes it that, hey, it gives you some more depth to the combat, which is neat, for sure. Anyways, we're going to see probably when we get to Final Fight Streetwise, it's going to get way worse. Apparently. Like I said, I don't know, I haven't played it. I mean, for all I know, who knows, I might love it. I don't know why that would be the case, but hey, I'll be open that way until I play it, because I never have. Ugh. I do like the fact you can electrify him, and also the, as we had with Lucia, the idea of the fire. Yeah, so I guess going back to like what you're saying as far as Lucia being the sex symbol, I guess, of this game, when we really think about it. I guess maybe the idea of the fire being a bit of a metaphorical element of that, too. Potentially. Although, I don't know if Capcom made it that way. I mean, maybe, fine, some of the animations they did, but I don't know if that was the idea that, hey, they created this character for the purpose of that. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe I can find something, but we'll see. Oh, actually, okay, fine, I didn't go to the bar. Actually, did I go to the bar? Hang on, let's... Yeah, because in this level, there's another path. You can go to the bar. Instead, we went to the park. I guess... I think I had to bust one of those doors down, but I didn't. I'm starting to feel sleepy. I'll call it a night. Okay, I'm with you. I mean, I'm probably going to be doing that when I'm done with the show. For sure, ElecVerse. Thank you for joining us for this. Keep in mind, the next 2 shows are going to be Friday nights. So, the 23rd and 30th. We're going to have shows. Next week is Tetris Plus. I knew you wanted to see that. Thank you, by the way, for the request of this. And for this Street Fighter stuff. Or Final Fight stuff, I should say. And for Tetris Plus next week for Saturn. Looking forward to doing that. Thank you so much. No problem. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a great night. We'll see you next week. As we beat Call Man down once more. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, if nothing else, you're seeing the limitations of this and nothing else. Later. Alright, yeah, definitely later. Good to see you, for sure. Ah! Yeah, it's also gonna be later for all these enemies. And honestly, Hagar's getting a good job of taking Call Man out. It was like, yeah, even he's... Oh, he died. Okay, fine, never mind. Actually, alright, I realized something. Hagar, I guess, has maybe been a little bit of a human shield, because I've not lost a single life. Somehow. I don't know how that happened. But, I guess I didn't. I guess because, yeah, Hagar's been just doing everything. I didn't even sound like the strongest, attack. Alright, fine. Down to the ground with you. Okay. So, yeah, the last thing I think I'm going to show is basically, I'm just going to show off the, how was it? The, bus stop thing. We're going to not take the bus. I don't want to take the bus after what happened, when I did last time. But, hey, I'm glad I showed that. We get the complete look. And as much of a complete look as I really think can be run on a game like this. And also, I guess, if nothing else, kind of putting this game, I guess, more in the spotlight as far as discussion is concerned, because, something the Crusader 64 and I had mentioned when it comes to Shadow Hearts was the idea that it seems like it's a little confusing as far as who did voice acting and all that. It's like there's multiple sources of which is it. Yeah, don't take the bus. Yeah, we're not taking the bus. We're gonna take a boat. We'll go off in the water. Which probably would not be preferable as far as the Crusader 64 is like, yeah, I hate the water as far as like going on a boat. You're not getting me on any cruise. Like, fuck that. That's pretty much out verbatim how he'd put that, if he hasn't put that on the show already. But for this, I like the idea that I guess we're kind of getting some of this stuff out there. I'll tell you this. I've sometimes said this when it comes to the show that, look, I'll take notes as far as certain things. I'll do the research, but it's also the idea that I don't necessarily know everything when I'm doing the research. All right, fine. Yeah, we're not taking the bus. I'm trying not to take the bus. Oh, no. Wait, no. Come on, come on. Right, stop it. I can't do it. Okay, there we go. Great, I broke it. Okay, you have to break that sign, and then you don't have to take that bus. Thank God. Yeah, that's the bad. Talk about taking the wrong bus to the wrong part of town. Like, yeah. Or as I always think of sometimes what they say on the Super Gaming Brothers show, as far as that. So like, yeah, you're in the wrong neighborhood, motherfuckers. Like, yeah, that's what's happening. No, okay, that's literally what they're gonna say probably in Final Fight Streetways. Yeah, and if you do that, you're the round's lower. And yeah, I'm not joking. They do literally like swear like crazy in the Final Fight Streetwise game, and it doesn't feel organic. That's the other thing. Like, look, if it feels organic, that's one thing. And ElecVerse got no point of that, saying like, "Hey, I want to say something like that without making it seem vulgar." Which is like, yeah, fine. That's the idea. It makes sense to kind of go into something like that, or just say like, "Fine, I'm doing a quote or something," or I'm saying that it's coming from something natural. Like, "Hey, I get hit," and like, I'm kind of not expecting that. Like, "Oh, I feel awful," or like, "Oh shit," or something like that. Like, or like, "Ooh, whoa, look at that." So kind of natural that way, as far as it, yeah. I also love the idea, it's like, you're just kind of sweeping that off the way. It's like, yeah, just, yeah, fine, electrify him, but it's like, yeah, just, it's like he's just swatting an indivisible fly. And then he's just hitting him down. Alright. Yeah. We're ready to go. Actually, Hagar's doing a good job of basically being, I don't know if my meat shield is the right way to put it, but, yeah, either way, he's living, I'm not. Or no, he's not living, I am. As far as the ending thing, I don't know necessarily if that's going to change it much. I don't think it does as far as two-player. It's more just based on paths you take and difficulty you're running. But either way, yeah, we'll get through the boat, and I think at that point, that will probably be the end of it. Well, actually, no. I'll get to the, oh, we'll see how it is. It's not going to be too long. But also, you're getting a good variety as far as what it is, and, yeah, Jesus. Yeah, the slowdown is massive. I guess we can go into that, too, as far as one other anecdote, which is that when it came to the battle between the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, the idea of the Sega Genesis game, or the Sega Genesis system, had a faster internal clock to it, or, yeah, system clock, I should say, so that they used in their marketing used blast processing, which is why Sonic the Hedgehog ran fast. What they meant by that was the fact that the hardware was, the processor was faster, and that it could handle games without a lot of slow. You got stuff on Genesis that slowed down, no question. Jesus, that transition to Super was insane. But certain things, yeah, you got it a lot on Super Nintendo, but then Super Nintendo was stronger in terms of its audio and in terms of color palettes. Because, yeah, the Genesis color palette is way smaller than this. It's 64 colors on that compared to, I think it's 256 for the Super Nintendo. If that's not right, I will put an edit down, though. So in that case, it was interesting seeing like how both of the consoles were kind of overlapping each other in certain ways, like one being more powerful in one way and one not in another. And also what kind of games strived well on each system because of their attributes. Which is not to say that beat 'em ups didn't do well on Super Nintendo. We had stuff like Turtles in Time, which is a great game and really runs itself really well, better than this, I will say, for sure, as far as frame rate. And it had other stuff as well as far as genres, so in that case it does a good job. But if nothing else, it's interesting to see the idea of like how you're in slow motion. I think I notice it more when you have the big characters like Fat Jack, Arby, and Hagar. Yeah, that case, just throw him on the dock. Oh yeah, the weapons. I don't know if I actually shown the weapons off that much. Yeah, that's the nunchucks. Alright, yeah, Hagar, get him. Although, if nothing else, I do like the fact that this has this auto two-player mode, so you can kind of show or get that experience of the two-player co-oping if you're playing alone. I guess it's fitting because actually, except for Final Fight 2, we've shown the co-op, whether intended or not, on all the Final Fight games. Because the first one I had an online join for that when I played it, and this one I used this mode. Yeah. Yeah, but it's nuts as far as how this frame rate's running. But, I mean, is it for 1996, not awful, though then again, even for other Capcom games, like the Mega Man stuff, they didn't really have this problem that massively. And I don't even think Final Fight 2 had it, even as two-player. I'll have to take a look at that on the two-player, because actually that one I realized I wanted to look at it earlier, but I said I was going to use my Pro Controller and the gamepad. Apparently you can't use them as separate controllers, so I didn't set it right for that. So I'll have a look back, or I'll look into it when I edit and see if I have an answer for that. Alright, ready to go? Come on, guys. Oh, he's over there. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm glad I got to see that because... in my test play, I asked myself this question that I... Oh, shit, I didn't mean to pause. And that is, I asked a question that I didn't get an answer to until actually right now, as you just saw that, which is, will the computer use the super special move when they get the bar filled? And the answer is yes, they will. So I'm glad to have been able to find that out. Although I guess I'll say one thing as far as the slowdown, go back to that one last time. It seems like maybe it's helping me sort of survive, but also be in a case where I can kind of avoid the attacks easier. Although, whether it was intended that way, I don't know. Or it's like, oh fine, there is one Mega Man game that's slow down on the system, which is X2. One of the bosses is insanely easy because of it, and then the later releases took it out. You need the health? Actually, do they take the health? I don't even know that answer. It doesn't look like he does. I think he's just saying, oh, okay, we're going this way. Oh, let's go in the hold. You can go on the top of the ship, I believe you take the stairs over there, but we're going in the hold. Alright, so yeah, we're almost there, and then there's the boss, and then there's the, and then there's gonna be another mini-game. Because we didn't see the other mini-game, or the mini-game here, because we didn't come this way. Actually, I'll say that I like the idea of the branching paths. It's unique, and it gives this game a little more replay value to itself. On top of being able to figure out, you know, what you're going to do with the combos and everything. That's one ace in this game's hull, or cap, or wherever you want to put it. Okay, so we're almost there, and we'll get the boss here, which is going to be interesting. So yeah, we didn't have to fight the guy with the wrench, so that's nice. We got something else we have to deal with. Alright, yeah, we have Drake. He is the anchor. You don't want him to pick up the anchor and hit you with it. So if you can, just bash him. Although I don't know actually what happens when he picks up the anchor. You know what? Fine, let's show what happens when he does the anchor. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. When he does that jump down, it's a shockwave, and it'll knock you on your back. Okay, he'll swing it around, because, yeah, he's strong. You just pick up that big anchor that's probably, like, multiple hundreds of pounds, and hit everything with it. And nice suplex there, by the way, Mike Hagar. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is probably an easier battle than the one I fought with the wrench guy, whose name I already forget. Like, maybe I just want to forget his name. It's like, yeah, I didn't like the idea of how that was operating. And as usual, if you're running the special moves, your super special moves, that'll help. Actually, yeah, let me see about his, Yeah, I'm trying to see about Dean's, run attack. That's something you can combo a lot the way you can with, Lucia, but I don't know. Yeah, avoid that, thing. He does the, that means he's gonna do the shockwave, so in that case, just jump and avoid him. Okay, no, it's not a combo. So, yeah, just hit him. It just hits him and knocks him to the ground. Oh, it's just useful. For sure, I'll say that. In its way. So, in that case, like we said with Streets of Rage when we played that last month, because you have your selection characters here, they play differently, so you have your ways of being able to determine what's going to be the style you're going to like to play with for beat 'em up. Because sometimes it comes down to the idea, like, the feel of, like, what kind of character you play as, or style of how you fight. In that case, I'd knock him to the ground. Alright, we got him. And there's a little bit of pause I noticed there, so I guess maybe sort of a load time before it says round clear. Alright. By going this way, we get a bonus stage. So just stop the bulldozer, because here's the preview to Streets of Rage 3. Yeah, basically do a dash forward and hit into that, because otherwise you can't hit it. And I guess Hagar doesn't care to hit it. He's walking into it. Like, yeah, maybe Hagar's thinking, like, it's strong enough he can just do that. He can push it backwards. He can't. The other easier thing to do is use your special attack. Because it will hit him. And you have to do it before the, before you fall off everything. And, yeah, you lose health when you do that, but your health after the hits I did are going to be strong enough I should be able to do this in time, I hope. Come on. This is gonna be close. Oh, guy helps. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I never saw that happen before. Okay, so you lose it, but guy saves you falling in the ocean. Okay, cool. Oh, okay, unique cutscene. Okay, so by going this way, we found that, yeah, the cargo hold was holding weapons. So yeah, Skullcross was smuggling weapons out, and it ran to Sims Incorporated. Which not to be confused, I guess, with the Sims franchise, or Sims, the company that made Shadow Dancer on the Sega Genesis. Okay, yeah, because you go in the sewer. And also you find this. That is the Shichi. That is actually an item that is in Bionic Commando from NES, and also is in Mega Man 1. There's other Capcom games that have it. You're invincible when you pick this up, for a brief period of time. I think this is the only place you see it, so make sure you use it while you can. It's kind of hidden by the background, by the way, there, so yeah, you might miss it. Also, when you're in this level, I believe there is a ladder you can take that actually, in fact, it's up there. I will show that. After I kill Joe and, May, there's a ladder there, so actually I can go to another level by taking that. So I'll show that, and I think at that point we're probably pretty much done. Yeah, help on D-pad here, climbing the ladder. Yes, basically at this point we're back where we were here. Alright, fine. In that case, I think that's gonna be good. I'm gonna go back to the title screen. And we'll do our final, spiel as far as this. Okay. So, after, a bit of a roller coaster ride in more ways than one as far as that. That is Final Fight 3 for the Super Nintendo. Final thoughts on this one. It is a good entry in the franchise that definitely takes a lot of risks and does push the limits of the system for sure. Both the fighting system it's doing and also of the Super Nintendo. Although maybe on the latter one a little bit will fall just so with the slowdown with the two-player. And definitely some interesting stuff with alternate paths. So you get to have a lot of variety when it comes to this. And even though I didn't show it effectively this way, it is probably the easiest entry of this franchise. So if you want to have a beat 'em up and you've never played something like this before, this might be a good option. That is, unless you have a Wii U, that is assuming you have a Wii U or a new 3DS, because then you can download this for $8. Otherwise, you're paying over $200. So in that case, yeah, maybe not. The cost is going to be too much. But maybe we can get a re-release of this and get a bit of an indication that way. Because it is a unique part of this franchise's history. I'll definitely say that. Yeah, and in that case, I've definitely had a good time doing these Final Fight games, sure, bouncing between Sega and Capcom for this. And, yeah, in that case, it is fun. And if you have Wii U or 3DS, or new 3DS, I should say, because, yeah, you do need a new 3DS to play the Super Nintendo games that are on that, of which this is one of, as is Final Fight 2. Yeah, it's a not bad choice, for sure. The next time we come back to Final Fight, as I mentioned earlier, I'll reiterate it now, is going to be Mighty Final Fight for NES, which is another one that costs a fortune. It's like almost $400. It's $5 on this and on 3DS. And that works on normal 3DS if you have one of those too. Kind of be a little bit of a going backwards case as far as the tech and also it being kind of a remake of the first one. But it is an interesting one, it is a fun one, and I'm glad I got it cheap. And I'm looking forward to doing that eventually as time goes on. Although, as I said, the next beat 'em we're going to do as far as that, probably going to be Streets of Rage 3. I just got to figure out with the medics when we're going to do that. And as I said, as far as this going back and forth between franchises, it's really only going to be with Final Fight and Streets of Rage. So if there's anything in between, like Proto-Oven I mentioned last week as far as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist at some point, and some of the other Power Rangers games I know have come up with, that will be exempt from this perspective, like going back between them. Basically, the idea, pretty much the rule of this is going to be is that we don't do another Final Fight game until we do another Streets of Rage game, and vice versa. So in that case, we don't do Mighty Final Fight until we do Streets of Rage 3, and we wouldn't be doing Streets of Rage 3 until we did this, which we did do. Had a good time for that, and yeah, thank God for the edit, as ElecVerse said, because yeah, it's going to be much smoother as far as how it is. Okay. With that, yeah, I'm kind of feeling like it took a lot out of me too, for a lot of reasons for it, but I had a good time with the show. I always have a good time doing the show, even when weird stuff happens or things that are out of control in some ways. In some ways, as I said, I kind of is a bit exhilarating, kind of a bit, I guess a bit of a challenge I like as far as that, but also something that shows that, hey, I've got the skill for this in my way. Other people who have been on the show have this. All of you in chat have that of, like, reacting to all this weird shit I'm saying, or all this weird shit that might happen. And in that case, I do appreciate that, and I thank you so much for every case. When you come on the show, have stuff to say about it, stuff to say about the games we're playing, request games. I'll definitely take that look into Dragon Ball Advanced, what was it called? I think, Dollyfin? Yeah, it definitely seems very, very interesting. There's definitely a lot of interesting stuff I'm seeing as far as what Chad has been discussing tonight. It definitely has been a good... it's a Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure. Just want to make sure I had that right as far as that, so... In that case, that's going to be the idea, and I'll definitely look at that, because as I said, we always take your requests in this program. Of course, how it is. Okay, so, with this being the last Saturday show of 2022, and man, we've had a year with the show, no question. And I can't thank everybody out there enough for making it that way. ElecVerse, Dolly Finn, as well as everybody who is with you tonight, Dolly Finn, as far as that. Let's talk schedule, because the next 2 weeks are going to be Friday programs. It's Super Old Game Almost Saturday, but it's also the case that, yeah, we have holidays coming up, that I don't have a game that's going to be specifically me saying, oh, I got to have this on this holiday, like we did with Christmas nights last year. So, next show is going to be on December 23rd. That's going to be Friday, so for that one, Old Game Friday, that's true, or also Super Old Game Almost Saturday, unless you have a better name, Dolly Finn, because, hey, Nikki, who's going to be on the show in January, she came up with the name of Super Old Game Saturday. She saw me streaming Dynamite Hetty the first time I did it. And I'm recording for that. Eventually we'll come back to that. She said this show should be called Super Old Game Saturday, which should take off on Bad Game Thursday that Edwack came up with, and he'll be on also on the same show Nikki's going to be on as the dimming of the screen goes, because my controller just auto-offed for a good reason. Great name Nikki had. Yeah, she definitely said that. Like when we did Parasite Eve's second part, she said that. She was like, she appreciated that. It's like, I said, you're the one who named the show. And she said, quote, I sure did. It's like, yeah, that's going to be the case. And when her and Edwack are on the show, usually those are going to be Fridays as far as it is. But yeah, next week is Friday. So for Super Old Game Saturday, Almost Saturday, Old Game Friday, however you want to put it. I'm open to other suggestions. I just came up with one of mine on a whim. It was not as good as the name as Nikki's for the actual name of the show. But next Friday, we're going to be playing Tetris Plus for the Sega Saturn. ElecVerse wanted to see this one in particular. He has experience with it on the PlayStation. Other people I know have experience with it on the PlayStation as well. I only have experience with that. It's also on the Game Boy, but I have not played that version. We have the Sega Saturn version, which is actually a port of an arcade game from Jalico from 1996. and then 1997 was the release of it for the consoles, and one of the earliest examples of Tetris that was not on a Nintendo system. In fact, I believe it was the first officially released Tetris game on a Sega console. Because there was that Sega Genesis Tetris game that was made and could not be released, and there were versions of the game, I think maybe 10 cartridges, and they were like for $30,000, but that was not officially released until 2019, so that would have been the first if it was, but since it's not, Tetris Plus is the first time that Sega is getting their answer to Tetris. It is a unique one, and it's a fun one, and for Saturn, it's not a Saturn game that costs a fortune, and when you realize that on the Sega Saturn games that don't cost a lot, you don't want to take that, usually. Okay, and I guess we are going to show off the profiles of the other characters, so I guess good thing I'm running this. So his hobby's politics, which is fair because he is the mayor of town. He likes hamburger and curried rice, the most popular mayor, because he's become more powerful with age. Yeah, he's grown up. The idea is like, hey, he's had a lot of trauma in his life. He's a widower, specific as far as that, as the first game indicated. And that's why he felt such a personal thing as far as saving his daughter, Jessica, in that game. But yeah, in that case, yeah, he took that. He's just grown with age, and that's always the case with him. But yeah, next week is Tetris Plus for Sega Saturn. Looking forward to playing that one. And then the week after that, I am kind of a little bit of up in the air with this one, because it could go in two ways. As I said a couple months ago, I said we're going to do Parappa the Rapper on PlayStation. Which we are going to do eventually, no question. But because my brother is in town for the holidays, I got a bit of a proposition for him. I got to talk to him about this specific, but there's a game, speaking of shows I did before I had recordings and all that. I mentioned this when we did not Castle of Illusion. Actually, I sort of mentioned this with Castle of Illusion, but I mentioned especially with the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse about a month ago, which is, I kind of want to do World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck for the Sega Genesis, and I'm not going to play that game without him. Whether we do it in 2 weeks or not is either way, but that game is saved for him. There's no way anybody else is going to touch that. I will not play that game until he is able to be involved, assuming he wants to be. I think he's seen the show. He knows what it is. I think he gets a sense of what I do. And the idea is this relaxing, end-of-week hangout. And reliving our memories with the game, making new memories, one you might not have played or one you might not have played a lot in certain cases. That is going to be one of those two, and if I can make it be World of Illusion, I will make it will be that one. If not, we'll do Parappa the Rapper, and we'll figure that for sure. But that's the tentative plan as far as one of those two for December 30th. That's going to be Friday's show as well. And then we get into 2023. I can't believe we're almost there. We're starting the year right with a New Year's resolution of mine. I have a hanging Let's Play of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon for Nintendo 64 from Konami. I started that game in October 2020. I was meant to get back to it. I didn't. So we're starting the game over again because it's been so long and I was running my old tech. So I have the nicer audio quality for this as far as the mic I got. And we will have the start of that game for January 7th. That is going to be Saturday, so that's going to be our next Saturday show. That will be in 3 weeks. The week after that will be the Crusader 64 coming back in for Part 4 of Shadow Hearts for the PlayStation 2. Based on what we saw of Intermission, as he called it last time, I'm too interested. My mind is still going off in multiple directions, thinking about the jaw-dropping sights that I saw as far as what that was. The thought of, after our time in Asia, we're in Europe, so what's going to happen next? Where's the story going to go? What's going to happen with the exercising business that Alice and, not Dehuai. Dehuai's the villain. Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name. I don't remember the name of the monk there. It's like, Crusader 64, I'm sorry, I forgot his name already. But he was like, yeah, there's a lot of people to keep track of. I want to see where that's going as much as he does as far as showing it. So yeah, that's going to be January 14th. In fact, actually fitting to this, except for January 7th, every show in January is going to be having guests on them. And for, I mentioned Nikki that way, January 20th, that's going to be Friday as well. Her and Edwack are going to be on the show for Guitaru Man for the PlayStation 2, which is a music game that he loves. Another one that costs a lot of money. It's like $200 the way Final Fight 3 here is. He adores that game. It is developed by Innis, the people who made Elite Beat Agents on the DS, which is my favorite game on the DS, that we can't show because A, I don't have a way to show DS outside of the Virtual Console stuff I showed you on Wii U, and also because it has licensed content in that game up. Guitar Man does not, and it's one I always wanted to play, but it costs a lot unless you get the PSP version, which is like 70, 80 bucks. But still, it's a bit of money. So he's looking forward to showing that game. Nikki's looking forward to being on that. She's also going to be showing, at some point, we're going to figure the scheduling out on this, Freddy Fish, Case of the Missing Kelp Seeds, which is the first game in the Freddy Fish franchise from Humongous Entertainment, the company founded by Ron Gilbert from LucasArts back in the 90s. They were big as far as those games, to the point where there's actually a humongous collection that's coming out that's ported a bunch of them from Switch that were downloadable into a card release, a physical release, where even she was complaining, like, these aren't all of them. And there's like, yeah, it's deceptive naming. Or actually, that was the Crusade Nerd 64's element. But yeah, she's going to show that. I think we're going to show the PC version off. And actually, she'll help us show PC, because we've never done PC on this program before. It's also on the Wii. It's going to be her choice about which one she wants to run. We can run either one. I believe the PC version runs better than the Wii version, from what I've understood. And that first one is not on the Switch. They ported other games in that series to it, but not that one. And she mentioned they didn't have sound when they launched, and they had to patch. I'm like, oh boy. Which is usually me doing that. I'm always saying, like, hey, they screwed up something with the port, but she indicated on that one. Yeah, Guitar Man on January 20th. And then January 28th is going to return to Parasite Eve with Emetics. Yeah, we were able to get the scheduling figured out on that one. I think we finished the game, and we finished the Krystal building, and we finished that RPG off that way as we keep going with everything else. And then in February, of what I got so far, will be the finale of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, because it's only going to be 2 parts. Part 5 of Shadow Hearts, date to be determined. Same with Mystical Ninja's finale. And we'll see if we're going to do Freddy Fish that month. We'll also see what Nocturne wants to do, because she says she wants to start Mega Man Legends 2 at some point. But I don't know how the scheduling that's going to go. Nocturne, call me as far as that when you get a sense. If we're going to start it then, or if it's going to be something we'll do it later, because I know that a lot of the stuff for March is going to be a no-go for her as far as the scheduling is concerned. So she said specifically, I don't know necessarily if I want to start that game, if I'm not going to be able to continue it concurrently. I mean, hey, Emetics has been that case. Like, we've not been able to always do that each month. So I said it's fine either way, however you want to do it. If you want to do something else for that, that's fine. We'll figure it. Or if we can't do something else, we'll pull something off of the master list as it is as far as requests. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I think I want to do Donkey Kong Country 3 at some point, maybe in March, because I think I'll have some open shows. But some of those details are going to come down the road. Honestly, right now, the ones I got in line are, yeah, January, basically, and half of February. So those are the ones that are set to some degree as far as, like, what we're playing for February. And then January is all set. And next 2 weeks are mostly set. The next week, for sure, is definitely set with Tetris Plus and Saturn. But, with that, I think I better get going to rest as far as that, and all of you as well. Thank you so much for watching Super Old Game Saturday. I had such a great time with this, and going into everything. And thank you for adding everything that you do every week, and have done through all of the shows we've had this year, and over the past couple years. So I says fabulous good night to you, as we're also seeing the profile of Dean. I don't know if I actually show it. He loves driving fast, and he loves beef kebabs. For Street Fighter with thorough knowledge of Skullcross gang operations, and he carries a small picture's family wherever he goes. Because, yeah, that's, yeah. Thank you for the 3 of us. No problem. And, yeah, any games that or anything you want for the show, however it is, or it's not even you've been on the show, anything you want to be in on, call dibs on, that you have not called dibs on, say the word. It's going to happen. But in that case, thank you so much for everything you've done for this show. Thank you so much for watching Super Old Game Saturday. I'll see you next Friday on December 23rd for Tetris Plus for the Sega Saturn. We had fun. Thank you so much. I'm glad you had fun. I try to do that. I really try to bring that fun and make it so you're active that way if you want to be active. And you're curious about what it is, and hey, you're willing to put up with the weird shit that comes out of my mouth. I can't thank you enough for that. It's like, who would necessarily want to listen to me necessarily? But like, I don't know, maybe I give the idea that I'm, someone who has this kind of understanding about self. I mean, fine, I'm not, I found the body. I mean, if you're a Twitch person, yeah, he's someone you pretty much want to take a piss on as far as that, maybe literally, potentially, as far as that. As far as certain things, I might have a link to indicate what I'm talking about. But yeah, in that case, the idea of, like, the understanding that communal element, the idea of, like, how the chat goes, where it goes, sometimes I don't know where it's going to go, and I like that that goes that way. And the idea you're comfortable of going into some of these things, maybe to be deep, maybe not deep, or whatever, and just kind of mixing up with me. I appreciate that. And it really goes to this unique idea of what the show has become. And as I said, 2 years ago, I never would have predicted it would have turned out like this, but all of you have made that happen. everybody who's been in chat, everybody's been on the show, and I can't thank you enough for that. So yeah, and I'll never stop saying that. So if you don't like that, sorry. I have to keep thanking people. I'm very grateful that way. I really try to be. But all right, with that, hope you have a great night. Keep being awesome as you always are. I'll see you next week for Tetris Plus on Sega Saturn. Take care, everybody.